Are you sick of watching life pass you by while others seem to move ahead with purpose and power? Are you sick of falling asleep with anxiety in your chest and confusion in your mind, wondering why, no matter how hard you try, success remains just out of reach? Are you sick of promising yourself tomorrow will be different, only to wake up the same? Are you sick of the excuses, sick of the doubt, sick of waiting for someone else to tell you you're ready? Good, because this moment, this night, is your turning point. From this night forward, you will not sleep like an ordinary man. You will sleep like a man who knows the truth. Your mind does not go to sleep when your body does. Your mind is active, always. Even now, as you listen, it is either shaping your destiny or sealing your defeat. There is no pause, no idle, no neutral ground. Your subconscious is always at work. The only question is, what orders are you giving it? You will not stumble into greatness by accident. You will not wake up confident, successful, and disciplined just because you wish for it. No man in history ever has. And yet most men live as if their thoughts are casual things, harmless, wandering, unimportant. But I say to you now, with all the force of experience and spiritual law, thought is power, thought is instruction, thought is the cause of every result, and thought never sleeps. When the body lies still, when the eyes close and the breath slows, your subconscious steps forward. It listens to everything you have planted during the day. And if you have planted nothing but noise, confusion, fear, or doubt, it will grow exactly that. You will become what you permit. You will rise or fall by what you have spoken in silence. So tonight we reverse that pattern. Tonight we plant on purpose. Tonight you will feed your mind like a master, not a drifter. This is not a game. This is not entertainment. This is the process by which men build empires, forge unshakable confidence, and become instruments of definite power in a world full of confusion. You are not here to be entertained. You are here to be transformed, and this transformation will not come by accident or in a single night. It will come by repetition, daily, nightly, unwavering repetition of thought, belief, and command. Just as water smooths stone through endless persistence, so too will your new thoughts carve out the man you have chosen to become. Every night you will listen. Every night you will repeat. Every night you will plant, and in the daylight you will walk taller. You will speak with clarity. You will act with direction, because your mind will no longer be an echo of fear, but a voice of authority. I will guide you through every part of the process. You will learn how to give commands to your subconscious. You will learn how to shape your identity while you sleep. You will learn how to replace fear with faith and confusion with order. You will learn to repeat the truths that build destiny. These next hours are not passive. They are not casual. They are sacred. As you lie back and absorb these teachings, your mind will absorb what your will affirms. Your voice will become your compass, and your belief will become your bridge from this moment to your ideal life. You are not just listening to a voice. You are listening to the future version of yourself who already knows success. You are listening to the identity that is waiting to be built. You are listening to a man who does not hope, he decides. So expect no miracles tonight. Expect instruction. Expect a new mental order. Expect a new voice in your own soul, a voice that says, I am the master of my fate. I demand of myself the highest standard. I feed my mind with power, faith, and certainty. I rise, I act, I persist, I do not turn back. Let this be the beginning of the end of doubt. Let this be the end of fear. Let this be the death of indecision and the birth of your definite purpose. Tonight you become the gardener of your own mind, and I will walk beside you. Let us begin. The subconscious mind never sleeps. It does not close its ears when you do. It does not rest when your eyes shut. Long after your body has sunk into stillness, your mind continues to take instruction. It listens. It absorbs. It executes. Silently, obediently, and without pause. Every man is giving orders, whether he knows it or not. He may not speak aloud, but his dominant thoughts speak for him. They whisper fear. They repeat doubt. They replay failure like a broken phonograph hour after hour until the mind accepts these patterns as reality and begins to build a life around them. You are never inactive. You are never not becoming something. Every thought permitted is a brick. Every emotion repeated is a blueprint. Every image you hold with feeling becomes form. This is not theory. This is law. And the law does not care if you know it exists. It will still build your future in its image. Understand this: the hours of sleep are the richest soil for mental planting. You have no resistance, no logic to block you, no environment to distract you, only suggestion, pure raw suggestion. And that suggestion, if repeated with faith, will shape the iron of your character and the gold of your results. Most men use this time to rehearse disaster. They fall asleep thinking of their failures, their debts, their regrets. They imagine worst-case scenarios. They reanimate arguments. They allow television, gossip, worry, or fatigue to pour weeds into the garden of their mind. And they wonder why they wake up no stronger than they slept. But you will do the opposite. You will take command. You will not allow the night to drift by uncontrolled. You will use these sacred hours to instruct your subconscious with purpose. You will give it clear, repeated, definite orders, spoken with emotion, reinforced with belief, and repeated until they are carved into your very identity. Henry Ford did not dream of failure before bed. He visualized entire assembly systems running efficiently before they were even invented. He imagined cars produced so cheaply that every man could own one. And he became what he believed, not because he hoped, but because he repeated it so often that his mind could not conceive otherwise. Thomas Edison did not fall asleep in fear. He often drifted into unconsciousness on his workbench, focused so intensely on solving problems that the solutions would arrive in the night. He gave orders before he slept, and those orders bore fruit. He believed success would come, and so it did, because he told his subconscious so. You will now begin to use the same law, and you will begin now, this very night, not with hope, not with doubt, but with calm authority and spiritual certainty. Speak to your subconscious as a general addresses his troops, as a king addresses his people, as a master addresses his servant. Say to yourself, I am the type of person who directs his mind. While I sleep, my future is forming. I feed my subconscious with faith, order, and belief. My rest is sacred. My rest is instruction. Let these words echo. Let them settle. Let them become the new rhythm of your internal voice. Do not speak them casually. Speak them with feeling. Speak them as if your future depends on it, because it does. Your subconscious is a receiver. It does not argue. It does not resist. It accepts what is repeated with emotion. It hears belief, it hears faith, and it obeys with divine exactness. This is why your results are never an accident. They are always a reflection of your dominant inner speech. The world has trained you to think passively. It has taught you that circumstances shape your life. But I tell you now, the truth is the opposite. Circumstance is the effect. Thought is the cause. And the cause is always under your command once you know how to give the order. What you attract is not what you want. It is what you believe, what you repeat, what you emotionally hold in the theater of your mind when no one else is watching. And it is this internal process that must now become conscious, disciplined, and definite. As you lie down tonight, I will instruct you to give yourself to this process with all your mental power. See your definite chief aim as already complete. Speak the attributes of your ideal self. Visualize the version of you who already commands wealth, health, order, confidence, and peace. Do not wait for it to feel real. Repeat until it becomes real. The man who waits for feeling before he acts is a drifter. The man who repeats truth until it becomes feeling is a master. You must master yourself before you can master results. And you must master thought before you can master self. Do not worry if it feels unfamiliar. All success is unfamiliar at first. You are building a new pattern. The old you was built through years of unconscious suggestion. You are now building the new you with deliberate thought, chosen affirmation, and repeated belief. Let no thought pass unchecked. Let no fear be rehearsed. Let no doubt be spoken. And if one arises, replace it immediately with truth. Say, that is not part of me. I no longer feed failure. I am becoming what I instruct. My subconscious obeys my word. The repetition of these truths is not a gimmick. It is law. Thought repeated becomes belief. Belief repeated becomes habit. Habit repeated becomes identity. And identity shapes every decision, every action, every result. This is not opinion. This is spiritual mechanics. You must not allow the world to choose your identity. You must not allow television, fear, or failure to become your instructors. From this moment forward, you choose, you lead, you build. Every night your subconscious is open. It is listening. What you tell it determines what it creates. Your wealth, your relationships, your opportunities, they are all shaped in this sacred silence. You are the sculptor. You are the architect. And the tool you must now wield is auto-suggestion, spoken with faith, repeated with certainty, emotionalized with desire. As you fall into rest tonight, say aloud, I am the type of person who creates his future. I plant faith, I plant courage, I plant power. My subconscious is a servant of my will. Every night I grow stronger. Every night I become more definite. Let these words become the lullaby of greatness. Let them become the new rhythm of your thought. Let them echo long after the voice fades, because while the voice may stop, your mind does not. The old world ends tonight. The new self begins now. Your mind is your garden, and tonight you must begin to treat it as sacred land. You must understand this fully. Whatever is planted in this garden, be it fear or faith, doubt or desire, clarity or confusion, will take root, and it will grow. Your mind, like the soil of the earth, does not judge what is planted. It only brings forth what is sown. If you do not plant deliberately, weeds will take root by default. That is the nature of neglected land. And that is the nature of the unguarded mind. Confusion, fear, insecurity, hopelessness, these are the weeds that grow when the gardener is asleep, distracted, or indifferent. And the world, being full of noise and opinion, will sow these weeds freely into any mind left open and unattended. Most men do not realize their divine duty as mental gardeners. They go through life reacting to whatever the world throws at them. They listen to the fears of others, absorb the doubts of the news, dwell on past failures, and call it realism. But realism is often just the refusal to cultivate thought. It is the language of mental laziness, and it breeds mediocrity. You are not here to live like that. You are not here to let others decide the crop of your life. From this moment forward, you must take back the tools of the gardener, the trowel of conscious suggestion, the water of repetition, and the sunlight of faith. You must dig up every root of fear. You must pull out every vine of hesitation. You must till the soil of your subconscious until it is ready to receive only what you have chosen to grow. Tonight, I ask you to walk through the garden of your mind. Close your eyes and see it. What is growing there? What images have you allowed to flourish? What beliefs have you tolerated that do not serve you? What stories have you repeated so many times that they now grow like trees, unchallenged? Now see yourself walking through that space with authority, with fire in your spirit. Begin to remove what does not belong. Uproot every phrase that starts with I can't. Burn every belief that was planted by those who gave up on their own dreams. Tear out the shame, the hesitation, the excuses, and the false identities. You are not the man others told you to be. You are who you decide to be. Once the ground is cleared, you must begin to plant. You must sow thoughts of strength, clarity, power, discipline, faith, and purpose. You must plant the belief that you are becoming the man who acts, the man who follows through, the man who does not drift, does not doubt, and does not quit. You must plant these truths night after night until they grow so large they crowd out all lesser thought. And how do you plant? You plant by repetition. You plant by affirmation. You plant by feeling. Speak these words aloud tonight with calm force and unwavering belief. I choose what thoughts grow in my mind. I am the gardener of destiny. I am the type of person who plants only what strengthens me. Every night, I cultivate the character I wish to become. These are not empty lines, these are seeds. And if you plant them now, if you return to them each night, they will grow. They will shape your language, your posture, your habits, your discipline, your boldness, your endurance, your success. But only if you repeat them, only if you feed them. You must also water them, and the water of the mind is repetition with emotion. Dry affirmations do nothing. But when you speak a truth with belief, with vision, and with feeling, you charge that seed with life. The subconscious responds not just to words, but to emotionalized thought. Thought soaked in belief becomes law. So visualize now. See yourself walking through the rows of your mental garden. See healthy trees of courage rising. See vines of persistence crawling up the trellises of your thought. See flowers of faith blooming where fear once lived. This is your new world. This is your private territory. Guard it, tend to it, visit it nightly. Do not allow weeds to return. If you catch yourself replaying failure, remove it. If you hear the voice of criticism, silence it. If fear tries to return, declare out loud, fear has no root here. This soil is sacred. It grows only power. I am no longer the man who tolerates weakness. Every seed I plant is worthy of harvest. This is not poetic talk. This is law. What you plant, you will harvest. And the harvest will come not by chance, but by cause. Do not expect tomorrow to look different if tonight you plant the same thoughts that built yesterday. You must become disciplined in your mental gardening. Every night must be a ritual, not a vague wishing, but a deliberate act of mental cultivation. This is your greatest work, more important than any meeting, any strategy, any opportunity, because all opportunity is filtered through your identity. And identity is built in the silence of repeated thought. The man who masters this becomes unstoppable. He walks into rooms with calm power. He speaks with certainty. He makes decisions swiftly. He persists with endurance, not because he is lucky, but because he has tended his mind like a sacred field and it bears the fruit of order. You must not leave this to chance. Most men never take this seriously. They let the weeds grow. They say, it's just a thought, not knowing that thought is the first cause of everything they will ever be. Do not be like them. Be the exception. Be the man who plants greatness and waters it daily. Now repeat these words as you prepare for rest. I do not allow weeds to grow in my mind. I plant only what I intend to become. I am the type of person who prepares for greatness in silence. My harvest is inevitable because my planting is deliberate. You are not simply listening to a speech. You are reprogramming the very soil of your destiny. You are taking control of your most sacred asset, your own mind. And this power, once claimed, can never be taken, only neglected. So do not neglect it, not tonight, not ever again. All transformation begins with this tool, auto-suggestion. You must understand this word, not as a concept, but as a weapon. It is the bridge between who you are and who you intend to become. It is the only method by which you can issue instructions to your subconscious mind, and it is the single most powerful tool ever placed in the hands of man. No man rises above the suggestions he permits. No man ever created wealth, greatness, love, or certainty without first telling himself that it was possible and then repeating it until it became inevitable. Auto-suggestion is not wishful thinking. It is not fantasy. It is not the blind repetition of empty phrases. Autosuggestion is self-command, issued with belief, repeated with persistence, backed by desire, and absorbed by the subconscious through emotion. You are always suggesting something to yourself. The only question is, are you choosing it? Or are you letting the world do it for you? Most men walk through life under the control of other people's suggestions. Their teachers told them they would never be leaders. Their parents told them to play it safe. Their friends mocked their ambition. Society whispered, "Be realistic." And so without realizing it, they accepted these ideas and made them their own. And what they accepted, they became. But you will not live by suggestion from the outside. You will live by instruction from within. You will speak words not of fear, but of faith, not of limitation, but of power. And you will repeat those words until your mind has no choice but to obey. Let me make this clear. Repetition is the key to mastery. Repetition is how the subconscious mind learns. It is how new beliefs are installed. It is how confidence is built. It is how desire becomes belief and belief becomes action. And it is how you will rewire your very identity. Henry Ford was not the smartest man in the room. He was not the wealthiest man to start, but he was the most definite. He suggested to himself, day and night, that he could build a car affordable to every man. And he repeated that belief until it shaped his reality. When others said it couldn't be done, he said, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." That was not just a saying. That was a philosophy rooted in autosuggestion. The same was true for Andrew Carnegie. He repeated to himself that he would dominate the steel industry, and he did. He told himself he would give away more money than any man who had ever lived. And he did that too. Before any act, before any result, there was belief. And before belief, there was repeated suggestion. You must now build the same habit, but not once a week. Not only when you feel like it, you must do it every night with intention until the very walls of your mind echo your command back to you in the morning. Here is your truth. If you do not give your mind instructions, it will obey the suggestions of fear, failure, and fatigue. If you do not speak belief into your soul, the world will whisper confusion into your spirit. If you do not affirm strength, your mind will default to weakness. You are the commander. You are the voice of authority. You are the master issuing orders to the most powerful assistant in existence, your own subconscious. And this assistant never questions. It accepts whatever is repeated with emotion, and it builds your results accordingly. Let us now make this practical. Each night, as you lie down to rest, you must begin your autosuggestion ritual. Do not wait until you feel like it. That is the mistake of the average man. You speak the truth until you feel it. You repeat the words until they become real. You plant the belief until it grows deep enough to sustain itself. The subconscious mind accepts only that which is repeated persistently and emotionalized with belief. This means you must speak your affirmations with feeling. You must believe that what you say is already becoming true. You must speak not as a beggar hoping for change, but as a king declaring what shall be. Here is your nightly command. I am the type of person who reprograms himself nightly. I use repetition to build identity. I speak truth to my subconscious and it obeys. My words create who I am becoming. I repeat what is powerful. I reject what is weak. These are your tools, and you will use them with discipline. Now let us go deeper. What should you be suggesting? What is worthy of your nightly repetition? Only this, the man you intend to become. Describe him clearly. Speak of his courage. Speak of his certainty. Speak of his wealth, his clarity, his discipline. Do not speak of what you want. Speak of who you are. Because if you suggest to your mind that you want something, it will believe you do not yet have it. Instead, declare, I am, I do, I act, I follow through. I persist. I lead. I build. I create. Speak in the language of identity, not desire, and repeat these declarations until your subconscious begins to form the corresponding habits, the matching attitudes, the aligned decisions, and it will, because that is its nature. Let us pause and make this more specific. Take your definite chief aim and reduce it to a single clear statement. Speak it out loud. Feel it. Visualize it. Repeat it. Say, I demand riches of life with definite purpose. I am building a fortune through clear action and persistent faith. I do not hope. I do not wait. I act with purpose and power. These are not dreams. These are commands. You are programming your system, and the system will respond. Every repetition plants a deeper seed. Every night waters the garden. Every phrase carved into your mind becomes a permanent groove, and that groove becomes character. Some will say, this is too simple. Let them say it. They are the ones who complicate their failure while mocking the simplicity of success. Great men do not require complex formulas. They require clear commands repeated faithfully. That is the work. That is the way. Now let us address doubt. At first your mind may resist. You may say the words and feel no change. That is to be expected. Your old identity has years of repetition behind it. You are not fighting an enemy. You are replacing an outdated pattern. And patterns yield to persistence. The subconscious yields to new orders, not once, but through habitual suggestion. So tonight you begin, and tomorrow night you continue. You will no longer drift. You will no longer permit random thoughts to lead you. You are the master of your mind, and you will act like it. You will speak truth. You will affirm power. You will build a new identity, brick by brick, line by line, word by word. Say aloud now, I do not leave my identity to chance. I build myself through repetition. Auto-suggestion is my tool. I use it with discipline. Every word I speak plants a law within me. You are no longer a slave to old belief. You are no longer a mirror of the world around you. You are the origin of your new self. And this new self is born in the silence of sleep, through the voice of repetition, through the law of suggestion, through the faith of a definite man. Let us seal this with your nightly affirmation sequence. Speak these aloud now and carry them into your subconscious as you fall into rest. I am the architect of my mind. I suggest strength, clarity, and direction. I persist in belief until my identity is forged. I am becoming all I choose to become. I speak power. I speak discipline. I speak destiny. This is the law. This is the method. This is the medium of power. What you see in your mind with emotion, you become in your life with certainty. This is not imagination. This is spiritual architecture. Your subconscious does not distinguish between real and vividly imagined. Whatever you visualize with belief, it accepts as fact and begins at once to translate into results. Visualization is not idle daydreaming. Visualization is instruction. It is rehearsal. It is blueprinting your inner world so the outer world must conform. Most men never understand this law. They hope, they wish, they vaguely want success, but they never sit down and see it. They never give their subconscious the image it needs to follow. And a mind without image becomes a life without direction. Tonight you begin a new ritual, the nightly vision of your future self. This vision is not casual. It is not abstract. It must be clear, emotional, and repeated. You must begin to live mentally inside the image of the man you intend to become until the subconscious, obedient and exact, builds him into reality. You become what you visualize nightly. You become what you repeat emotionally. You become what you instruct your mind to see again and again, until no other image can survive. Let me explain why this works. The subconscious mind operates in pictures. When you speak affirmations, you are using words, but those words carry images, and those images carry emotion, and it is the emotion that penetrates deepest. If you visualize yourself succeeding but feel weak, the subconscious hears weakness. But if you visualize with certainty, if you feel what it is like to already be the man you choose to be, that feeling becomes law. The subconscious moves mountains to make it so. Every night before you sleep, you must build the vision. See yourself already living the life your definite chief aim requires. Where do you live? How do you speak? What kind of posture do you hold? What decisions do you make? How do others respond to your presence? This is not fiction. This is construction. You are forming the mold into which your mind will pour your future. This practice is not new. I used it myself when I sought to form the principles of this very philosophy. I built an invisible council in my imagination. Men I admired: Abraham Lincoln, Napoleon Bonaparte, Ralph Waldo Emerson, Elbert Hubbard, and others. I imagined sitting with them nightly. I heard their voices. I watched them speak. I asked them questions. And over time, the qualities they embodied began to take root in me. That is not magic. That is visualization, practiced with faith. And it works because the subconscious makes no distinction between real mentorship and imagined instruction, so long as the feeling is strong and the repetition is daily. You must now create your own invisible council. Choose 5 men whose attributes you admire. They may be historical, personal, or symbolic. Choose one for courage, one for clarity, one for vision, one for calm, one for wealth. Give them names. See them seated at your table. Imagine their faces, hear their voices. And every night before rest, enter the chamber of your own mind and sit among them. Let them advise you. Let them affirm you. Let their strength become your standard. This practice will feel unusual at first. That is because you have never been taught to use your imagination as a tool of discipline. Most use it for worry, for fantasy, for regret. But the disciplined man uses imagination to program his future. And you must do the same. Now begin this exercise with me. Close your eyes. See the room, see the table, see your counsel seated with you. See yourself as you wish to be, strong, certain, decisive. Hear yourself speak. Hear the confidence in your tone. Hear your counsel nod in approval. Let the emotion rise. Let the vision become vivid. Let the image become unforgettable. This is the identity you are building. This is the future you are claiming. This is the image you will carry into your sleep and in time into your waking life. Let us now fix this vision with your spoken word. Repeat with feeling. I am the type of person who sees clearly before acting. I visualize success, and so I create it. My imagination is not fantasy, it is instruction. I build the image of my ideal life, and my mind obeys. What I see nightly, I become daily. Do not skip this step. The mind does not follow hope, it follows pattern. And pattern is built by repetition of image and word over and over until there is no room for the old self to remain. You must be consistent. Every night, return to your vision. Make it clearer. Make it stronger. Add detail. Add emotion. Rehearse it like a master. See yourself waking with purpose. See your day unfolding with power. See obstacles dissolve before your decisiveness. See yourself as the man who follows through. You are not rehearsing fiction. You are engraving identity. You are building the internal structure for external success. Do not expect the world to offer you more than your inner world can hold. Expand your vision, and your world will expand to match it. Some will mock this process. Let them. They live by accident. You are now living by design. And design begins in the mind. The greatest achievers in history were masters of internal vision. Carnegie saw the steel empire long before he built it. Edison saw the electric light long before it lit a room. Rockefeller saw financial dominion long before the world recognized his name. Each of them held a mental image that burned into their subconscious until they were compelled to act in harmony with it. You must now do the same. Every night return to your picture, speak its truth, feel its presence, live inside its energy, and in time the subconscious will accept no other alternative. You will begin to act as the man you have imagined. You will speak like him, walk like him, decide like him, and in time you will be him. Now say this with me. I am the man I have seen in my mind. I live from the vision, not from memory. I do not hope, I instruct. I do not wonder, I create. I become what I visualize, and I visualize nightly. These words are seeds. Your mind is the soil, and your future is the harvest. Plant with care, repeat with conviction, tend with persistence, and trust the law. Tonight you have begun to use the same faculty that built empires and transformed the course of history. The difference between the masses and the great is not talent. It is the will to hold a vision when others drift. You now hold that vision. You now walk with purpose. You now create your world from the inside out. You do not become successful by wishing. You do not become disciplined by accident. You do not become confident by chance. You become these things because night after night, in the hidden silence of your inner world, you are instructing your subconscious who you are. Whether you know it or not, you are always building identity. Every man walks in the image of the identity he repeats. The words you speak, the pictures you see, the emotions you permit, all combine into one powerful command. This is who I am. And your subconscious obeys. It does not argue. It does not question. It receives your repeated thoughts as law, and it builds your habits, your reactions, your decisions, and your destiny in perfect harmony with them. The tragedy is this. Most men are programming weakness into their identity without realizing it. They say things like, I'm not that disciplined. I just can't focus. I never follow through. I always get distracted. I'm not that type of person. And they say it with emotion, with conviction. And so the subconscious accepts it. And so it becomes true. If you say it often enough, it becomes who you are. But here is the power, the miracle, if you will. You can choose a new identity. You can speak a new image. You can repeat a new character until your subconscious removes the old and installs the new. And this change begins not in public, not in performance, not in the presence of applause, but in silence, in solitude, in sleep. Your subconscious is most open during the quiet moments before rest. And during these moments, you must no longer leave your identity to chance. You must become the sculptor. You must speak into your soul the man you have chosen to be over and over again until your every cell obeys. Identity is not fate. It is not fixed. It is not genetic. It is constructed. And construction is deliberate. Every builder knows this. You do not construct without a blueprint. You do not lay bricks without intention. And you do not build a self unless you first define what that self shall be. So define him now. Who is he? The new you, the strong you, the disciplined you, the definite you. What does he believe? How does he walk? How does he act under pressure? What does he say when others quit? What is his tone, his tempo, his presence? Now speak it, affirm it, program it. I am the type of person who follows through. I am the type of person who rises early and acts with purpose. I am the type of person who keeps his word. I am the type of person who works while others sleep. I am the type of person who trains his mind nightly. You may not feel it yet. That does not matter. The seed does not resemble the tree. But if planted, watered, and shielded, it will grow. And identity works the same. The first time you say these words, they are only sound. But the 100th time, they are law. Let me make this even more real. Charles M. Schwab, the man who built U.S. Steel into an empire, was not born to wealth or position. He was not gifted anything, but he possessed what others lacked, the identity of a builder. He walked with the confidence of a man who already saw the result. He trained his thoughts. He chose his beliefs. He repeated success into his soul, and the world bowed to match. You will do the same, but not with arrogance, with certainty, with the calm of a man who has repeated his identity until he cannot be anything else. Each night as you lie down, speak the man into existence. Say it aloud, I am the architect of my identity. I program myself with every word I speak. I am becoming the man I was born to be. I do not drift. I do not break. I do not doubt. Repeat this every night. Make it a law. Let your sleep become sacred ground. Let every word be a brick. Let every affirmation be a beam of steel. Let every breath carry the rhythm of transformation. Some will say, but I've always been this way. That is the lie. That is the voice of the past. And your past holds no power unless you feed it. The truth is this: you are becoming what you repeat. And tonight you begin repeating strength. Let's take it further. Construct a new internal title. Not your name, not your job, your identity. Say, I am the man who finishes what he starts. I am the man who acts when others hesitate. I am the man who lives with discipline and moves with power. I am the man who becomes more definite every night. Speak it until it becomes normal, and then keep speaking it, because the subconscious does not respond to enthusiasm. It responds to consistency. It says, he has spoken this 10 nights in a row. It must be real. And once it believes, it will instruct every nerve, every instinct, every habit to act accordingly. This is identity transmutation. This is not motivation. This is construction. This is the same process by which every great man remade himself. Not in public, but in private. Not through events, but through decisions. Not through chance, but through nightly programming of the self. Do not neglect this process. Do not skip a night. Do not allow laziness to interrupt your construction. You are not repeating words. You are repeating identity, and identity is destiny. Repeat now, slowly with feeling. Every night, I program my identity. Every night, I build the man I am becoming. I am not who I was. I am who I repeat I am. I am the type of person who leads himself with power. The new identity is forming, and I do not break the chain. Say this again. Commit it to memory. Let these be the final words you speak before sleep. Each night I instruct the man I become. Fear is not a mystery. Fear is not a monster. Fear is a habit, a mental pattern rehearsed, a suggestion accepted. And like all habits, it can be replaced if you are willing to confront it, strip it of its disguise, and speak a new command into its place. Fear is not power. Fear is obedience to the wrong voice. Most men are trained in fear from youth. They are taught to avoid risk, to stay small, to seek approval, to not stand out, to not try too hard. They are told that success is dangerous, ambition is arrogant, confidence is ego, decisiveness is reckless. These words become the rhythm of their thinking, and by repetition they become law. You were not born afraid. You were taught to fear. You rehearsed fear. You inherited fear. And worst of all, you accepted fear as identity. But tonight we begin a new process, a nightly replacement of the old habit with one of faith, power, and definite calm. There are 6 basic fears that every failure feeds: the fear of poverty, the fear of criticism, the fear of ill health, the fear of loss of love, the fear of old age, and the fear of death. These 6 ghosts walk the hallways of the subconscious mind, whispering lies if left unchallenged. And they are always stronger at night. Why? Because fear thrives in silence when the voice of faith is not present. When the conscious mind slows and external distractions fade, fear walks in, unless you do first. If you do not speak power into your sleep, fear will speak weakness. But you will not allow that anymore. You are not just removing fear, you are replacing it. A man cannot just stop being afraid. He must start being something else. He must install a new pattern, rehearse a new response, build a new identity. And that begins tonight with conscious thought, emotional suggestion, and the construction of spiritual opposites. Fear of poverty? Replace it with, I live in abundance. I am the type of person who attracts wealth. I believe in increase, not loss. Fear of criticism? Replace it with, I walk in confidence. I follow truth, not approval. I speak with conviction, not apology. Fear of ill health? Replace it with, I am the type of person who commands his health. I treat my body with discipline. I speak vitality, and I feel energy. Fear of loss of love? Replace it with, I give love freely and receive it fully. I am the type of person who inspires loyalty and respect. I am grounded, not desperate. Fear of old age? Replace it with, I grow wiser, sharper, more powerful with age. I am the type of person who becomes more valuable with time. I walk with timeless purpose. Fear of death? Replace it with, I live each day with purpose. I am at peace with eternal law. I do not fear endings. I live fully now. These are not just affirmations. These are spiritual swords. These are new habits in the making. And the only way to form a habit is by repetition, especially in the hours when your will is quiet and your subconscious is open. You must now create a nightly ritual, a fear replacement sequence. Each evening, you will identify one fear. You will name it, you will confront it, and you will speak 3 powerful truths to overwrite it. Do not skip, do not delay, do not negotiate with fear. You command it, you replace it, you rewire your mind with law. Let us now say the full sequence aloud. Speak it with calm force. I am the type of person who replaces fear with purpose. I do not rehearse fear, I overwrite it. I do not serve ghosts, I serve truth. Fear is not welcome in my subconscious. I repeat faith until fear fades. Understand? Fear is a shadow. It has no life of its own. It borrows breath from your attention. Withdraw your attention, replace it with command, and fear dies. But you must be consistent. You must speak courage even when you don't feel it. You must rehearse boldness until it becomes natural. You must plant power nightly, or fear will return by default. Let me give you an image. Picture your subconscious as a house. In this house, you have allowed a tenant named Fear to live for years. He knows the rooms. He walks freely. But now you have decided to evict him, and you've brought in a new tenant, Faith. Faith is stronger, but fear is familiar. Fear does not leave politely. He will knock. He will plead. He will try to enter again through old thoughts. Do not let him back in. Lock the doors of your mind with new language. Install the alarm system of repeated affirmations. Stand at the threshold each night and say, only faith lives here now. And in time, fear will forget your name. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are not a victim of your thoughts. You are the builder. You are the gardener. You are the commander. And you are now installing a new mental operating system, one where fear is replaced with spiritual certainty. Even Abraham Lincoln, one of the strongest minds in history, faced fear. He lost children. He faced public hatred. He suffered depression. And yet he led a nation through war, guided by faith in a principle larger than himself, not because he felt no fear, but because he refused to let fear be final. So must you. Now repeat with me, slowly, calmly, with power. Fear is no longer my pattern. I am the type of person who acts despite emotion. I rehearse certainty and I move with calm. I sleep in peace because my mind is in order. I do not run from fear. I replace it with truth. Let this be your last instruction tonight. Let no fear enter your sleep. Let no ghost walk your garden. Let no weakness be given space. Tonight, your subconscious is being trained. Tonight, you plant the habit of fearlessness, and soon that habit will become your identity. Every oak began as an acorn. Every mansion began as a sketch. Every fortune began as a thought. And so must your future. Thought is the first cause. Thought is the spiritual seed from which all material results grow. What you now experience in your outer life is nothing more than the harvest of thoughts you once planted, knowingly or unknowingly. You must understand this deeply. Your mind is a spiritual field. You are planting something into it every day. The only question is what? Are you planting order or disorder, strength or weakness, faith or fear? Most men are careless with thought. They allow anything to grow, and so they are shocked by the weeds that rise. But there is no mystery here. There is only law. You cannot plant defeat and harvest victory. You cannot plant passivity and reap confidence. You cannot plant confusion and expect clarity. The law of mental agriculture is strict, exact, and unforgiving to those who neglect it. But it is generous beyond measure to the man who obeys it. Let us go back to the root. All achievement begins in the mind. Before Rockefeller ever held his first dollar, he had planted the image of vast wealth. As a poor child, he imagined money moving in waves toward him. He told himself even then that he would control industries. He rehearsed the power of generosity. And when the world gave him nothing, he gave himself a fortune, first in thought, then in form. That is how it works. The outer must mirror the inner. It has no choice. Your reality is nothing more than the organized reflection of your repeated beliefs. This is why I tell you, guard your thoughts like treasure. If thought is the seed, then your attention is the hand that plants. Your repetition is the water. Your emotion is the sun. And your subconscious is the soil. Let us be clear. This is spiritual science, not guesswork, not superstition. Every man who built greatness obeyed this law, whether he knew its name or not. And now you know it, and you must obey it. Start now. Become a man who plants deliberately, who thinks intentionally, who speaks as one sowing his future. Eliminate the language of failure. Remove every phrase that begins with I can't, I hope, or maybe someday. These are seeds of weakness. These are weeds in disguise. Do not let them touch your garden. Replace them. Replant. Speak what you choose to harvest, and speak it often. Say now, I am the type of person who chooses his thoughts. I plant faith, persistence, and clarity. I no longer plant fear. I uproot it. My thoughts are seeds of strength. I expect a great harvest because I have planted great belief. Each night before sleep, review the field of your mind. What thoughts have you allowed today? What images have you rehearsed? What emotions have you encouraged? If you do not like the answers, do not panic. Simply replant. The beauty of thought is that it obeys instantly. The moment you choose a new one and repeat it, the soil receives it. The moment you speak belief, the old weed begins to wither. The moment you affirm a new truth, the process begins, but you must persist. The farmer does not plant once and expect fruit tomorrow. He waters, he returns, he protects. So must you. Speak your affirmations nightly. Visualize the harvest. Repeat the truth. Do not waver. The fruit will come. Let us speak more truths now. Let us plant power. I am the type of person who speaks only what I wish to become. I do not permit random thoughts to rule me. I plant on purpose. I think with precision. My mind is sacred soil, and I treat it with honor. Everything I harvest tomorrow, I am planting tonight. Let me give you an image. Imagine a man who owns a plot of perfect fertile land. The soil is rich. Anything planted will grow, good or bad. But the man is lazy. He throws scraps, weeds, and poison into the dirt. He allows strangers to toss in garbage. He lets wind and animals carry in decay. And when he sees his land overrun with rot, he weeps and curses the soil. That man is the common thinker, and you must not live as he lives. You must be the master cultivator. You must rise with purpose and plant with intention. You must say, "This land is mine. My mind is mine, and I will grow only what builds my life." That is the voice of mastery, and that is now your voice. Let us fix this deeper with repetition. Say, "I am not careless with thought. I do not allow others to plant in my mind. I plant with faith and water with repetition. My thinking is not passive, it is productive. I think like a builder, I plant like a master." Understand this, even your self-talk is seed. When you speak, your subconscious listens. When you complain, it takes orders. When you affirm, it builds. When you visualize, it shapes. Your results are not random, they are grown, and you are the grower. No more excuses, no more hoping, no more wondering. You are the farmer. You are the cause. You are the planter of destiny. And every night, your field lies open. And now, you will plant like a king. Indecision is the slow death of all dreams. It is the silent killer of destiny. It is the cause of broken potential, abandoned plans, and men who live beneath their power. Nothing destroys ambition faster than hesitation, and nothing restores power faster than a single bold decision followed by consistent action. You must train yourself to become a man who decides, who moves, who does not pause and circle the same thought for weeks, months, years. A man who decides builds momentum. A man who delays surrenders his will, and no man can command his subconscious while doubting himself. Decision is not a moment, it is a habit. It is the muscle of the mind, and like all muscles, it grows through use. Each night, as you prepare for rest, you must practice decisiveness in thought. You must say to your subconscious, "This is what I want, this is who I am, this is what I will do." No more vague intentions, no more emotional flip-flopping. No more pretending you need more time. Time is not your answer. Decision is. You do not need more certainty. You need more commitment. And that begins now in silence with a firm mental command. Andrew Carnegie once said to me, "There is one thing that separates the great from the average. It is their ability to make a decision and stand by it." He demanded that I choose between hesitation and definiteness. He said, "Decide now, not tomorrow. Decide fully, not weakly." And from that moment, my life changed. Let me give you this truth. Every night that you go to bed undecided, your subconscious receives the instruction to remain confused. You wake up scattered. You delay again. You lose momentum. But if before sleep you say, "I am the man who moves with clarity," your subconscious accepts the order, and you begin to act in harmony with it. So tonight we install this habit, not someday. Now let us begin with your chief aim. Decide, choose, declare. If you cannot yet act on it fully, speak it anyway, because the decision comes before the evidence. The mind responds to repetition of belief, not delay for proof. Say, "I have made my decision. I do not revisit doubt. I am the type of person who decides swiftly and stands firm. Each decision I make increases my power." This is not theory. This is spiritual law. The subconscious mind must be told what to believe. It will follow the strongest, most repeated command. And decision is the language of power. Repetition is the mechanism of belief. Emotion is the fuel. And together they form a permanent habit. You must speak decisiveness into your spirit every night, even in small matters. Choose how you will begin tomorrow. Choose what thoughts you will permit. Choose what emotions you will reject. Do not leave these to chance. Practice decision in the dark so you move with power in the light. The man who cannot decide lives in mental paralysis. He overthinks. He rewrites the plan. He hesitates when boldness is required. And in that state, the subconscious receives only confusion. No clarity, no instruction, no power. And so it does nothing. Or worse, it follows the world. But the man who decides, he becomes dangerous. He wakes with purpose. He speaks with conviction. He walks into the day already knowing how he will move, and he wins. Not because he always gets it right, but because he always moves forward. That is the key. Movement, action, progress. You do not need perfect plans. You need definite action. And if you act from decision, even your errors will become fuel for greatness. Let us install this pattern now. Say with me, I am the type of person who finishes what he starts. I am the type of person who does not delay. I am the type of person who decides without apology. I am the type of person who commits and persists. Repetition forms habit. Habit forms identity. Identity forms destiny. And the identity of a decision maker is formed by nightly affirmations and visualized follow-through. Tonight, visualize yourself making a difficult decision. Feel the pressure. Hear the voices of doubt. Now watch yourself choose anyway. You do not flinch, you do not wait, you act, you commit, you speak, you move, you lead. Now see the result. Watch how everything begins to respond. Your world changes because your energy has changed. Your posture is firmer. Your voice is clearer. Your actions are faster. Why? Because the man who decides becomes magnetic. Indecision repels opportunity. Decision attracts it. The man who cannot choose sends a signal of weakness. But the man who commits, he emits strength. And the world answers with alignment. Let us anchor this deeper. Say aloud, indecision is not welcome in my life. I do not rehearse options. I act on what I choose. Every night I reinforce my commitment to purpose. My decisions shape my character, and my character shapes my fate. Do not underestimate this. Each small act of decisiveness becomes a brick in the structure of mental dominance. And each hesitation becomes a crack. You are not fragile. You are not confused. You are not a man who second guesses himself into failure. You are a builder, a decider, a leader, a man of mental certainty. From this night forward, you will no longer drift. You will no longer say, I don't know. You will speak clearly. You will act with urgency. You will think in a straight line. And you will be a man others follow, not because of luck, but because of decision. Now repeat. I decide, I act, I move. I am not confused, I am clear. I am not hesitant, I am bold. I do not delay, I execute. Desire is the spark. Decision is the ignition. But persistence is the fire that cannot be put out. Without persistence, all dreams remain invisible. All plans remain on paper. All potential remains locked in the mind of a man who could but never did. Persistence is not emotion. Persistence is not motivation. Persistence is the daily return to your purpose when no one claps, no one cheers, and no visible result rewards you. It is the unseen work that turns the imagined into the inevitable. It is the force that tells your subconscious, this is not a wish, this is law. Understand this, you will be tested, delay will come, resistance will whisper, disappointment will knock, fatigue will try to soften your fire, but none of these things can break the man who has trained his subconscious to persist. Because his power does not come from circumstances, it comes from decision, and he has repeated that decision so many nights in a row that it is now who he is. You must become that man. Edison failed over 10,000 times. He did not call it failure, he called it instruction. He said, I have not failed. I have just found 10,000 ways that will not work. That is persistence, that is identity. That is a man who trained his mind through repetition to expect the invisible to become real. Ford was mocked, Carnegie was doubted, Lincoln was defeated time and again, but they returned to the vision. They returned to the plan. They returned to the work, not because it was easy, because it was non-negotiable. And that is how you must train your mind, to return, to repeat, to replant, to keep pressing when nothing moves. Because persistence rewires the subconscious. Each act tells your inner world, this is real. And once the subconscious accepts that, your entire being begins to operate in harmony with your aim. Tonight you must repeat to yourself, not softly, but with strength. I am the type of person who persists until he succeeds. I do not give up. I do not slow down. I do not disappear. I return daily. I return nightly. I return always. I am relentless. I am certain. I am unwavering. These words are not decoration. They are fuel, and you must speak them into the fire of your soul until they no longer sound like affirmation, but like truth. Let us now speak about time. Most men measure progress by how quickly they see results, but the master builder understands that delay is part of the process. You cannot reap in the same season you sow. If you plant wealth tonight and dig it up tomorrow to check the roots, you have killed the process. Faith is needed, yes, but even faith must be accompanied by persistence. So when the days are quiet, persist. When others forget their goals, persist. When the old habits knock on your door, persist. When your mind says, maybe I'm not cut out for this, say, I persist until I succeed. The subconscious does not respect the man who gives up, but it builds monuments for the one who keeps showing up. Let us now practice the ritual of mental return. This is your nightly reinforcement of action. You will say this every night until it becomes your spine. No matter how I feel, I return. No matter what I see, I act. No matter how long it takes, I endure. My mind is trained to persist. Now visualize. See yourself building a wall. You lay one brick each day. You do not look at the entire wall. You focus on the brick. And each night before sleep, you see the wall growing. You feel the progress. You trust the system. That is persistence. That is momentum. That is how the invisible becomes visible. Do not fall for the trap of impatience. That is a temptation of the weak. The world will try to convince you that if it does not happen fast, it is not working. But the truth is this: if you are acting, repeating, and believing, it is always working. You must anchor your soul in the truth that progress is inevitable when effort is consistent. So say with me now, I do not measure by speed. I measure by direction. I plant daily, trust deeply, and harvest in time. I act in faith, persist through silence, and expect results. I am not shaken. I am not moved. I am not deterred. Every great man was once laughed at, doubted, criticized, ignored, but he continued. He spoke belief. He acted again. He returned to his purpose with blood in his eyes and faith in his heart, and the world yielded, not to his talent, but to his persistence. You are now becoming that man. Let this be your identity. I am the type of person who never quits. I return when others rest. I continue when others stop. I persist when others complain. I finish what I start. This is how mountains are moved, not in one day, but in thousands of small movements, each one powered by persistence. This is how wealth is built. This is how strength is built. This is how character is built, not through moments, but through identity reinforced over time. So tonight, as your body rests, your subconscious will be instructed with these final affirmations. Speak them calmly. Speak them repeatedly. Speak them with fire. While I sleep, my identity strengthens. While I rest, my character is fortified. Every night, I return to my purpose. Every night, I become more persistent. Every night, I build the invisible. This is your power. This is your advantage. This is your spiritual edge. The common man forgets. The drifting man quits. But you persist. All achievement begins first in the mind. All riches are born in thought, given form by clarity, and sustained through organized planning. Without a plan, desire is nothing but noise. Without structure, faith is scattered. Without direction, even the most powerful ambition collapses into frustration and fatigue. And so I say this to you plainly. You must begin each night with order in your mind, not chaos, not confusion, not emotional drift, but the firm clarity of a man who has charted his course and intends to arrive. This principle is often misunderstood. Men think planning is something you do once, a document. a goal sheet, a strategy you write and file away. But I tell you, planning is a nightly ritual. It is mental preparation. It is spiritual alignment. It is the architect sitting with the blueprint every evening and saying, let me see clearly, let me move deliberately, let me build precisely. Most men live reactively. They wait to see what the day brings. They stumble into tasks. They respond to others. And they wonder why their dreams grow no closer. But the man of success plants his actions the night before. He visualizes his day. He sees it unfold. He orders it. And in the morning, he executes what was already rehearsed. You must now become that man. You must end each day not with random thought, but with mental architecture. You must ask, what is my priority? What is the next action toward my definite chief aim? What must be done? What must be removed? What must be scheduled? Then you see it, you feel it, you plan it, and you command your subconscious to act upon it. Because the subconscious builds in silence. It does not wait for daylight. It works while you rest. And it works best when you give it clear, definite, emotionalized instruction. Say this now. I do not wait for order. I create it. I am the type of person who ends each day with a plan. My subconscious executes what I feed it. My results follow my structure. I do not wander. I construct. Let me share with you a story. William Wrigley, Jr., the chewing gum magnate, did not begin with brilliance. He began with focus. While others scattered their efforts across many ventures, he chose one idea: make gum. Sell it better than anyone. And he created a simple, organized plan to market it persistently, everywhere, always. The world mocked it. They said, it's just gum, but he said, it's my purpose. And he planned with such consistency, night after night, campaign after campaign, that the world had no choice but to respond. That is what organized planning does. It forces the invisible to take shape. It turns vague ambition into specific direction. It tells the subconscious, here is the path. Now make all thoughts, instincts, decisions, and habits serve this direction. And it will. You must now create this process for yourself. Each night before sleep, review your goal. Speak your chief aim. Then decide your next 3 steps. Not vague intentions, clear actions. Write them if needed. Visualize them being done. See the day ahead moving in perfect alignment with your aim. Then affirm, I act with precision. My thoughts move in straight lines. Each step I plan, I complete. Each plan I repeat becomes identity. This is not just about scheduling. This is about identity construction. The man who plans nightly begins to see himself differently. He no longer drifts. He no longer delays. He moves with calm certainty because his days are already decided before they begin. Your subconscious loves direction. It thrives under instruction, but it shuts down under chaos. If you do not plan, your mind will fill the space with emotion. It will default to fear, laziness, confusion, or distraction. But when you give it structure, you give it power. Now let us take this further. I ask you to begin each day in your mind the night before. Do not wait until morning. The morning should be execution. The night should be instruction. Each evening say, tomorrow I will rise at this time. I will act on these priorities. I will not respond, I will lead. I will not forget, I have already decided. Then see it. See yourself rising strong. See yourself completing your tasks. See your actions aligned with your vision. Rehearse the victory until it feels familiar. Then sleep. Your subconscious will take over. It will spend the night preparing your mind, strengthening your will, sharpening your intent. This is how leaders think. This is how winners act. Not with emotion, but with design. Not with stress, but with order. And that order is built night after night until it becomes the atmosphere of your identity. Let us now speak this truth together. I organize before I act. I visualize before I perform. I plan with certainty. I execute with calm. I do not wait for motivation. I build structure. You must now treat planning as sacred. 5 minutes of nightly thought can remove 5 hours of daytime confusion. When the mind knows what it must do, it ceases to wander. It moves with grace, with power, with focus. Repeat, I do not guess, I decide. I do not react, I lead. I do not wonder, I organize. I do not fear, I prepare. This is your new habit. Every night, without fail, review your aim. Break it down into steps. Feed those steps to your subconscious. And trust the system, trust the process, trust the law. Because the law says whatever is repeated with clarity and emotion must be built into action. This is the foundation of your future. Knowledge is not power. Let no man deceive you. Knowledge is only potential power. It becomes real power only when it is organized, specialized, and acted upon with persistence. And the most powerful knowledge is not gathered in noise. It is absorbed in silence. You live in a world overflowing with information, but very few ever transform because they are not absorbing with purpose. They are collecting facts, but facts without direction are like bricks without mortar. You must turn knowledge into instruction. You must decide what you are building, and then absorb only that which supports your structure. That is why I tell you this. Every night before sleep, feed your subconscious with specialized knowledge. Not noise, not distraction, not commentary. Read something with power. A paragraph from a proven book, a sentence from a wise man, a principle from this very philosophy. Then let your subconscious do the rest. The conscious mind digests facts, but the subconscious absorbs impressions. It stores emotion. It builds patterns, and it does not sleep. As your body rests, your inner world continues. And if you feed it silence, focus, and truth, it will turn simple knowledge into applied power. This is not theory. This is how every great thinker trained his mind. Thomas Edison did not cram books. He studied purposefully, and then he let his subconscious connect the unseen parts. That is why he slept on his workbench. He understood that the real work began after the reading, when the subconscious began its construction. You must now apply this principle. 10 minutes before sleep, read something powerful, not a full book, a focused idea, a tool, a truth. Then close the book and meditate on the idea. Reflect on how you can use it. Speak it aloud. Let it echo. Then fall into sleep. This practice, done consistently, will yield more wisdom than 1,000 unread volumes. Why? Because it is digested knowledge. It is processed in silence. It becomes part of your mental machinery. Let us now declare this truth. I am the type of person who absorbs knowledge silently. I read with purpose. I reflect with discipline. What I read before sleep becomes part of who I am. I do not collect. I internalize. Let me now tell you of a man whose writings did just that. Elbert Hubbard, a thinker, a printer, a philosopher. His essays were short, but they were potent. When I read his words before bed, I did not just read them. I listened to them. I sat with them. I repeated them in my mind, and they changed me, not because of their size, but because of their concentration. That is the key. Concentrated, repeated, and reflected instruction. You must now choose what wisdom is worthy of shaping you. Do not flood your mind with endless noise. Choose one page, one idea. Read it, then sit with it, then sleep, and the subconscious will transform it from theory into power. Say aloud, I am not entertained. I am instructed. I am not distracted. I am built. I read with discipline. I absorb with silence. My subconscious learns while I rest. Each night before you lay down, ask, what truth shall I build into my foundation tonight? And once you've chosen it, make it personal. Turn it into an affirmation, a command, a mantra. Say it again and again, with emotion, with belief, with intent, then fall into sleep. Let the silence carry it deep. Let the stillness embed it. Let the subconscious receive its orders. And do this again and again and again, until knowledge is no longer external, it is internal. It is part of your operating system, it is automatic, it is identity. This is how wisdom becomes character. Let me give you a ritual. Read one page of truth, reflect silently for 3 minutes, speak one line aloud 5 times, sleep with faith that it is taking root. This simple process, repeated for 30 nights, will outproduce years of scattered learning, because depth beats width, precision beats quantity, and repetition builds structure. Say this now. I do not read for memory, I read for transformation. I do not consume, I apply. I do not race, I absorb. I am the type of person who builds himself nightly. Knowledge must be chosen, focused, lived, and absorbed not in public noise, but in private silence. You are now a man of silent instruction, and the world will never see it coming until the results become undeniable. What you focus on expands. What you give your attention to becomes your experience. Your thoughts are not passive, they are magnetic. And the man who learns to control his attention becomes a force the world cannot ignore. Controlled attention is spiritual magnetism. It draws ideas, people, and opportunities into alignment with the image you hold in your mind. The majority of men suffer from mental drift. Their minds wander like leaves in the wind, caught by every noise, every fear, every flashing desire. They change their aim weakly. They start and stop. They hope without holding focus, and they are shocked when nothing ever materializes. But this law is absolute. A drifting mind cannot attract a definite result. Your subconscious does not respond to chaos. It responds to concentration, to repetition, to clarity sustained over time. You must now train your inner world to hold one thought, one image, one aim, until it becomes magnetic. The man who focuses his mind becomes dangerous. Why? Because all the powers of the subconscious begin to arrange themselves around that thought. The imagination begins to supply ideas. The emotions begin to charge that idea with intensity. The actions begin to support it without hesitation. All parts of the self begin to obey one clear mental image. That is the secret to greatness. Andrew Carnegie had one thought: to dominate the steel industry. Every hour of his day, every decision, every conversation was filtered through that aim. His attention was not scattered. It was organized. It was deliberate. And it made him a magnet for men, money, and opportunity. You must now do the same. Each night before sleep, you will take one thought, one image, one goal, and you will hold it in your mind for 10 full minutes. This is not imagination, this is training. You are telling your subconscious, this is what we build now. No distraction, no delay. Let us now begin that process. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply. Think only one thought. Choose your definite chief aim. See it clearly. Speak it mentally with each breath. Let your attention hold still. No wandering, no adding, no changing, just one thought. Feel the power of sustained attention. This is your new mental posture, and now speak. I am the type of person who holds a single thought. I am the type of person who sustains attention without breaking. I do not drift, I concentrate. I do not scatter, I attract. My mind is magnetic because it is focused. You must do this every night, because attention, like muscle, grows through resistance. The first night, your mind will wander. You will want to shift, to think of other things. Do not. Return. Refocus. Begin again. And each night, you will get stronger. Each night, the image will get clearer. Each night, the magnetic force will intensify. Let me give you a truth. All success is built on prolonged, focused thought. It is not built on variety. It is not built on trying everything. It is built on holding one image until it becomes more real than the world around you. That is the inner work. That is the discipline. And that is the path few will walk. Now let us engrave this habit with repetition. Say, My attention builds my future. I think with precision. I live with purpose. I hold my goal in mind until it becomes fact. I am not distracted. I am devoted. You must now become a man of stillness and power, not frantic, not reactive, not mentally chaotic, but ordered, focused, calm, intentional. Because the man who holds his attention steady becomes a lighthouse in a storm, while others are tossed by waves. Here is your nightly ritual. Choose one thought, your chief aim. Close your eyes. Breathe slowly. Repeat the thought silently with emotion. Visualize its details. Hold it. Feel it. When distraction comes, return. End by affirming, I am the type of person who holds focus. My mind obeys my will. I attract what I hold in mind. This is not optional. This is essential. You will become what you think about if you can hold the thought long enough. Now imagine your mind as a lens. Most men scatter the light. They produce no fire. But you, through controlled attention, focus that light into a flame. That flame becomes burning desire. That desire becomes faith. And that faith, backed by action, becomes fact. That is the order. That is the law. And it all begins with controlled attention. Let us now repeat. I think only of what I intend to create. I reject distraction as a thief. I return to my aim until it becomes my identity. My thoughts are servants of my purpose. My focus is a magnet for opportunity. Tonight you train your attention, and tomorrow your attention begins to train the world around you. You are never truly alone. Though the room is dark and the world has gone quiet, you carry with you the invisible company of every idea you've accepted, every voice you've allowed to speak into your life, every impression you have stored. You are always surrounded by influence. The question is not if you are influenced, but by whom. This is why the master mind is the greatest unseen force available to the man of purpose. It is the deliberate formation of spiritual alliance, not with chance companions, not with idle thinkers, but with chosen minds, selected by you, assembled by you, and directed by you to shape your decisions, discipline your thoughts, and elevate your spirit. A true master-mind alliance begins not with other people, but in your imagination, in the quiet, in the stillness, in the hours when your subconscious becomes most fertile. While others drift into sleep as orphans of thought, you must enter a sacred room where giants sit, where builders speak, where faith is multiplied through communion with greatness. This is not fantasy. This is instruction. This is how I trained myself. Each night I sat in my mental chamber. I invited men I admired, not in the flesh, but in principle. Abraham Lincoln for moral fortitude, Napoleon Bonaparte for strategic decisiveness, Emerson for spiritual clarity, Carnegie for wealth and order, Hubbard for precision of thought. I gave them chairs. I gave them voices. I gave them life in my imagination, and they spoke back. Not because they were ghosts, but because I had so studied their qualities, so admired their values, so repeated their wisdom, that my subconscious built composite impressions of their character. And once those impressions were formed, I could summon them at will. I could consult them. I could hear their tone. I could feel their counsel. And over time, something miraculous happened. Their strength became mine. Their decisiveness became mine. Their thinking became my habit. Their posture became my standard. Until one day, I no longer imagined being strong. I was strong. I no longer borrowed courage. I possessed it. The alliance had done its work. I was no longer a student of greatness. I was a vessel of it. Now you must do the same. Tonight, you begin building your council. Choose 5 men, not randomly, but with intention. Ask yourself, what do I lack? What virtues must I reinforce? What strengths do I admire? Then choose accordingly. If you lack courage, find a lion. If you lack faith, find a prophet. If you lack discipline, find a builder. Choose men who challenge you, not to flatter you, but to forge you. Give them names. See their faces. Study their lives until you can hear their voices. Then each night before sleep, enter your council chamber. It can be a room, a table, a firelit hall. Make it sacred, make it detailed, and sit down. Ask questions, present dilemmas, speak your plans, then listen. And they will answer, not with fantasy, but with mental alignment. For your subconscious has now stored their patterns. It has internalized their behavior. It knows what Lincoln would say, what Carnegie would do, what Ford would build, and their words will arise from you, but not of you. That is the mystery of the mastermind. Say this now: I am the type of person who chooses his influences. I walk with the great in my mind. I seek instruction from proven minds. I sit among giants while the world sleeps. You will be tempted to skip this practice, to say it's just imagination. But imagination, when used with definite purpose, is not escape. It is design. It is how you construct new patterns of identity. It is how you reprogram your reactions. It is how you break free from mental isolation and walk in the company of greatness. Your mastermind is not limited to the dead. It can include mentors you've known, writers who stirred you, even ideal versions of yourself. Build it with care. Expand it over time. Replace voices when they've done their work. Add new ones as your needs evolve. But always return. Always sit. Always listen. Let us now build this into your nightly ritual. Before sleep, enter your mental chamber. See your 5 chosen minds seated. Speak your plans aloud. Ask a question that matters and listen silently. Observe who speaks. Feel the conviction rise. Leave the chamber with certainty. Do this nightly. Let no excuse keep you from this spiritual practice, because each night you meet with your mastermind, you increase in power. You become less reactive, less doubtful, less fragile, and more composed, more decisive, more commanding. You are no longer alone in your development. You are advised by strength, and that strength will become your instinct. Now say with me, while others sleep in drift, I sleep in counsel. While others sink in worry, I rise in wisdom. While others hope for direction, I receive instruction. My mastermind shapes my identity. I am the type of person who walks with the wise. You are now a man of spiritual companionship, a man of mental alliance, a man who understands that who you surround yourself with, even in thought, shapes who you become. The weak wait for mentors to appear. The strong build them within. Let us anchor this deeper. Visualize yourself tomorrow, walking into a decision, and your mastermind walks with you. You remember Carnegie's firmness. You feel Lincoln's quiet resolve. You recall Emerson's detachment from praise and criticism. Their presence changes your posture, your tone, your words. Why? Because they live in you now. You have absorbed their character. You have rehearsed their responses. And your subconscious, receiving no protest, makes it so. Now repeat. My mind is not a chamber of fear. It is a hall of counsel. I choose who speaks into my subconscious. I create a sacred alliance of thinkers, builders, and leaders. Each night I sit in greatness. Each day I walk in power. Let this practice mature. Add detail. Strengthen the habit. Make it permanent. One day others will ask, how did you become so calm, so wise, so steady? And you will smile, knowing the answer lies in a quiet room no one else can see, where giants speak and you listen. There is a law working in your life right now, whether you recognize it or not. It is silent, it is unseen, but it is unbreakable. This law is not emotional. It does not favor the strong or punish the weak. It simply does this: it makes permanent whatever you repeat. I call this the law of cosmic habit force. Just as gravity never forgets to pull, and just as the sun never forgets to rise, this law never forgets to reward repetition. You do not need to feel strong for it to work. You do not need to feel worthy. You only need to be consistent, and it will bend your entire being, your thoughts, your instincts, your habits toward the image you have fed it. Cosmic habit force is the mechanism by which your identity becomes automatic. It is how the subconscious mind turns suggestion into reality. It is how you stop thinking about discipline and become disciplined. It is how you stop fighting fear and become fearless. Not by inspiration, not by emotional bursts, but by habitual thought, action, and belief. Most men change for a day, a week, or a month, and then they return to drift. Why? Because they stop short of triggering the law. They stop repeating before it becomes identity. They do not persist long enough for habit to harden into character. And so they live in cycles, high for a while, low for longer, always inconsistent. But I tell you this, if you obey this law, it will carry you. You will no longer need to rely on willpower. You will no longer need to force right behavior. It will become natural. It will become reflex, because the law will have absorbed your instruction and fixed it into your subconscious as a permanent pattern. You must now take this seriously. From tonight forward, everything you do must serve one purpose: to feed cosmic habit force with definite, positive, repeated suggestion. Every affirmation, every thought, every visualization, every action, done daily, done nightly, done whether you feel like it or not. Because every time you do, you cast a vote for who you are becoming. 1 repetition is a seed, 10 is a root, 30 is a structure, and 90 is a law written into your nervous system. Now say this aloud. I am the type of person who honors the law of repetition. I repeat greatness until it becomes me. I do not miss days. I do not skip nights. I obey the law. Cosmic habit force is forming my character. Let us make this practical. Choose one thought tonight. I am the man who follows through. Say it out loud 10 times. Visualize yourself acting on it. Feel the pride. Then sleep. Repeat tomorrow. Do it again and again, until one morning you realize you no longer need to say it because you already are it. That is the power of cosmic habit force. It is neutral. It does not care if you plant weeds or wheat. If you repeat fear, it will engrave fear. If you repeat courage, it will engrave courage. The law does not discriminate. It only obeys. So what will you choose? You now know that nothing is neutral. Every word you speak before sleep is either building you or breaking you. Every image you visualize is either sharpening your identity or scattering it. Every suggestion you whisper is either aligning your will or weakening it. Let us anchor the truth. I am the type of person who uses repetition to reprogram my life. I do not rely on moods, I rely on laws. I do not try, I train. I do not wish, I repeat until I become. The man who respects this law becomes unstoppable, not because he is gifted, but because he outlasts the world. While others drift in emotion, he moves with habit. While others get excited and quit, he builds silently. While others seek shortcuts, he builds systems. And his life bends to him, not all at once, but always over time. Do not stop short. Do not expect reward after 3 days of effort. The seed does not bloom at once. The identity you desire will take weeks, months of uninterrupted alignment between thought, word, and action. But once it takes hold, once it becomes reflex, you will not be able to fail. Because your system, your mind, your body, your emotions will all move in harmony with the identity you've engraved. Let's declare this now. My subconscious is being shaped by my habits. My habits are being shaped by my repetitions. My repetitions are deliberate and definite. The law of cosmic habit force is working for me now. Repeat this phrase with power and pause. I am the man I repeat I am. And repeat again. Every night I obey the law. Every night I become more consistent. Every night I write identity into my soul. Let others look for signs. Let others chase emotion. You build habit. You repeat until belief becomes normal. You act until excellence becomes unconscious. You think until greatness is no longer a wish, but a mechanical process. That is mastery, that is law, that is cosmic habit force in motion. Now visualize this law at work. Picture your subconscious as a vast machine. You drop in the same command every night, and slowly the gears begin to shift. The old programming is pushed out. The new structure begins to harden. And one day, the machine runs without resistance, because it now runs on your new identity. That day will come if you repeat, if you persist, if you obey. Say now, one last time tonight, I repeat until it becomes natural. I persist until the law takes over. I am guided by repetition. I am governed by order. The law of cosmic habit force is building my future in silence. Sleep now. But no, the law does not sleep. And it is working for you. Nothing happens until a man wants something with fire in his belly. Nothing builds, moves, or rises until desire becomes dominant over fear. And no force is more misunderstood by the drifting masses than burning desire. They confuse it with wishes. They mistake it for hope. They treat it like a spark. But desire, real desire, is not fleeting. It is sustained fire. It is not polite. It is consuming. It is not emotional. It is spiritual fuel. You must develop burning desire until it becomes the master emotion of your subconscious mind. Burning desire is the one thing no man can give you. I can teach you principles. I can show you laws. I can direct your attention. But if you do not want with intensity, if your desire is not flaming with faith, your mind will never move. Because the subconscious mind only obeys thoughts that are backed by emotion. Cold thoughts do nothing. Lukewarm aims fade, but fiery intent that builds destiny. I must ask you now, what do you want? Not vaguely, not someday, not in passing, but definitely, with heat, with hunger, with unshakable demand. If you cannot answer that clearly, your subconscious cannot serve you, because the mind cannot build a house with no blueprint. So tonight you must write it, declare it, feel it. You must say, this is what I want. I will not retreat. I will not negotiate. I will not forget. I demand this of myself. I demand this of life. Now speak this aloud. I am the type of person who moves with burning desire. I no longer wish, I demand. I no longer wait, I act. I no longer whisper, I declare. Desire must be specific. It must be spoken. It must be emotionalized. And above all, it must be repeated. Each night, each morning, each moment when your will begins to soften. Because if you do not feed your desire, the world will feed your doubt. Let me take you back. There was a young man, bold but unknown. He came to Andrew Carnegie and said, I want to be in your service. He did not ask for a position. He did not beg for approval. He came with a look in his eye, a fire in his voice, and a belief that would not yield. And Carnegie, one of the hardest men in industry, gave him a seat at the table. Why? Because burning desire speaks louder than credentials. It carries the voice of certainty. It makes others believe because the man himself believes. That young man had no title, but he had fire. He had definiteness. He had the one thing that cannot be taught in school, a will that refused to be denied. That is what you must now build. Let me now give you the ritual of desire. Write your definite chief aim every night before sleep. Read it aloud with emotion. Close your eyes and see it as real. Say, this is mine. I am this man. I will have this life. Repeat until your heart beats faster. Sleep with this fire in your chest. The subconscious is not moved by facts. It is moved by feeling. And desire is the emotional magnet that pulls every law into alignment. Faith flows into desire. Action follows desire. Persistence lives inside desire. Planning is directed by desire. Without it, the entire system collapses. Say with me now, I want what I want, and I claim it. I feel my desire rising. My desire is bigger than my fear. My desire directs my attention, my thoughts, my habits. You will be told to cool it, to be reasonable, to aim lower. You must reject this, because the man with burning desire has already decided that life will meet him at the level of his demand. He does not ask if it is possible. He tells life what he will accept, and then he moves in that direction until reality yields. Repeat with intensity. I demand riches of life with definite purpose. I am not interested in small goals. I build grand desires. My desire is the engine of my will. I speak what I want, feel what I want, act on what I want. Now visualize, see yourself 1 year from now, not hoping, not questioning, but having, owning, living what you once only imagined. What brought you there? Desire, unyielding, unwavering, untiring desire. You stayed with it, you repeated it, you became it, and so it became yours. Let us return to Carnegie. He said this to me once, and I have never forgotten it. If a man can make up his mind to be something and stay with it long enough, the world must step aside. Even fate cannot hold him back. That is the spirit of burning desire. Let us now engrave it. I am the man who never lets desire fade. I am the man who revisits his goal nightly. I am the man who reads, speaks, and feels his purpose. I am the man who lights his soul on fire until the world reflects it. And understand this final law: desire becomes identity. Identity becomes habit. Habit becomes results. And results become your new reality. But it begins only when you stop wishing and start burning. There is a moment each evening after the world has gone quiet, after the lights have dimmed, after the noise has faded, where something sacred begins. Most men miss it. They fill it with distraction or idle talk. But the wise man, he enters the silence. Because silence is not absence, it is preparation. It is not emptiness. It is power unspoken. It is the atmosphere in which thought deepens, desire intensifies, and the subconscious becomes most impressionable. And if you learn to treat the night as sacred, your mind will become your greatest tool. Understand this. Every great transformation begins not in sound, but in silence. Before the action, there is decision. Before the declaration, there is thought. Before the outward success, there is inward stillness. And the man who honors the silence of the night trains himself to live from within, not from without. Most men fall asleep reacting. They bring the day with them, the arguments, the failures, the scrolling images. They lay their head down, but their mind is full of debris. And so their subconscious receives clutter, not command. It drifts instead of builds. And they wonder why their mornings feel heavy, why nothing changes. But you must do it differently. You must clear the room, quiet the noise, create a sacred atmosphere before rest. Do not speak unless it strengthens. Do not consume unless it instructs. Do not enter sleep without emptying your mind of all that is unworthy. Because silence is not just peace, it is the voice of order. Say this now. I am the type of person who ends the day in silence. I protect my mind from noise. I treat the night as my temple. What I allow in the silence becomes who I am. Let me guide you into this practice. Each night, 30 minutes before rest, step into silence. No music, no news, no distractions. Sit upright or lie down, but be present. Close your eyes. Breathe slowly. Begin to review your day, not in judgment, but in reflection. What did you think? What did you say? What did you allow? Then release what must go. Say, that thought is no longer needed. That worry is not mine to carry. That mistake is over. That emotion has no permission to follow me into sleep. Then say aloud, I now command silence within. I now make space for new instruction. I now prepare my mind for mastery. In this space, speak your affirmations, but speak them softly, with reverence. This is no longer the noisy command of the day. This is the sacred voice of self-programming. Your mind will obey in silence what it resisted in noise. This is why monks speak little. This is why Edison sat in stillness. This is why Carnegie ended his evenings in total quiet, not for aesthetics, but for alignment, because only in silence can the inner voice rise. Only in stillness can the truth of desire echo. Only in emptiness can new identity enter. Repeat this truth. Silence is not passive, it is productive. In silence, I instruct my future. In silence, I separate myself from the weak. In silence, I find strength. You must now protect your nights. Like a warrior guards a gate, guard your sleep environment. Do not let fear whisper to you. Do not allow the world to enter your mind through devices, drama, or doubt. Turn it all off. Create ritual, light a candle, review your plan, repeat your desire, sit in silence, and sleep with faith. This is not weakness, this is command. Let me say it plainly. If you end each night in silence, you will begin each day in power. Because silence is not the absence of movement, it is the preparation of direction. And direction is all a man needs. Say this now. I no longer fear the silence, I live in it. I no longer avoid stillness, I seek it. I am not a slave to noise, I choose what enters. The night belongs to me, the silence builds me. This is how leaders live. They rise before the world moves, and they retreat before the world distracts. They train their subconscious when it is most open, not in the chaos of midday, but in the sacred stillness of night. Every night, this is your ritual. Clear your space. Turn off all devices. Breathe deeply and sit in silence. Reflect on the day, then release it. Repeat your aim, your identity, your desire. Sit again in silence. Let the impressions deepen. Sleep with peace. Sleep with certainty. This is no longer optional. This is now who you are. And now say with certainty, my nights are not wasted. They are invested. My silence is not empty. It is rich with potential. While others sink into distraction, I rise into mastery. Each night in silence builds the man I have chosen to be. From this night forward, the silence will not scare you. It will shape you. Now that you have declared what you want, now that you have spoken it, written it, emotionalized it, and repeated it with fire, you must master the next law. You must detach. You must release the outcome, not from apathy, but from absolute faith. Not because you do not care, but because you already know it is done. Detachment is not weakness. Detachment is not disinterest. It is spiritual discipline. It is mental mastery. It is the sign that your subconscious has accepted your desire as law, and you are no longer trying to force the result, because you know that through the law of cause and effect, your harvest must come. You do not detach because you doubt. You detach because you believe so completely that you no longer question, no longer grasp, no longer beg. You plant and you let go. You build and you walk away in confidence. You give the command to your subconscious and you trust that it is now at work. Most men never learn this. They speak their aim, and then they choke it with worry. They declare a goal, and then they cancel it by checking and measuring and doubting. They ask for results, and then live in anxiety. They have not detached. And so the subconscious receives conflicting orders. And what does it do with conflict? It stalls. It hesitates. It obeys neither voice. But the man who detaches walks in peace, not laziness. Peace. Not passivity, calm control. He no longer rushes because he knows timing is not his enemy. He no longer worries because he knows the outcome is not determined by panic but by law. And he no longer asks when because he has already declared, I will. Now say with strength, I act with certainty. I release the outcome. I am the type of person who trusts the law. I plant and I let go. I do not cling, I create. Let me give you an image. The farmer plants his seed. He waters it. He tends the soil. He speaks of the coming harvest. But he does not dig it up every day to check the roots. He does not stare at the ground in fear. He knows the harvest will come in season. He obeys the law, and the law rewards him in kind. So it is with your thoughts. You plant your desire. You feed it with repetition. You nourish it with faith. And then you let it go. You trust that your subconscious, aligned with infinite intelligence, is now orchestrating people, circumstances, and timing in your favor. You no longer need to push. You only need to move in alignment. Say this again. I am the type of person who moves without desperation. I do not chase. I attract through discipline and belief. My results are certain. My timeline is in God's hands. I work the law. The law works for me. When you attach yourself to outcomes, you tighten your spirit. You become frantic. You begin to act from fear. And fear, once present, poisons the soil. It uproots your faith. It weakens your repetition. It clouds your clarity. It brings delay, not success. But when you let go, fully, finally, with peace, you become magnetic. People sense your strength. Circumstances respond to your composure. Decisions become easier. Actions flow. Because your subconscious has no confusion. It has order. This is your instruction now. Each night, after you affirm your desire, after you repeat your definite chief aim, after you emotionalize it in your heart, sit still, breathe slowly, and say, "It is done. I no longer need to chase. My work is to believe, act, persist, and release. Let go of the timing, let go of the method, let go of the craving, and in that sacred silence, let the law take over." Think of Henry Ford. He did not pace his factories and worry. He gave the vision, built the system, trusted the method. He moved without panic. He made decisions quickly, clearly, and without emotional attachment to how others would respond. That is detachment with direction. Repeat with faith. I plant, I persist, I release. I am not desperate, I am definite. I do not panic, I trust. What I want is already mine in law. My only work is to walk into it. This is not passivity. This is not a license to relax. This is the highest form of inner power. You keep acting, keep speaking, keep building, but now without gripping. And that makes you light. That makes you clear. That makes you unstoppable. Detach from outcomes. Stay loyal to process. Detach from timelines. Stay loyal to structure. Detach from applause. Stay loyal to purpose. Detach from fear. Stay loyal to faith. And when the world asks, "Why aren't you rushing?" you will answer, "Because I have already won. The result is inevitable." Let us close with your nightly detachment ritual. Speak your chief aim aloud. Emotionalize it, visualize it. Say, "It is done." Breathe deeply. Release tension. Affirm, "I act in faith. I do not chase. I sleep in peace because I planted with power. My subconscious knows what to do. I am no longer waiting. I am becoming." And now you sleep, not with pressure, but with peace. There is one transformation greater than all others. It is not the change in bank account or the home you build or the recognition you receive. Those are effects, reflections, byproducts. The greatest change, the only change that lasts, is the transformation of identity. And the greatest tool to do this is autosuggestion. Autosuggestion is the bridge between thought and reality. It is the language of the subconscious mind. It is how you hand a command to the infinite within you and say, "Build this, make this real, reshape who I am." You do not become successful by chasing success. You become successful by becoming the kind of man who is no longer capable of failing. And that begins by telling yourself, every day, every night, in silence and in speech, who you are becoming. Most men speak to others more than they speak to themselves. Most men repeat complaints more than commands. They rehearse the old story. They replay the old identity. They say, "I always mess this up. I'm not good at this. That's just how I am." And so the subconscious obeys, and it keeps them right there. But you are now a man of self-declaration. You no longer repeat the old self. You do not identify with the past. You do not reinforce weakness. You speak only what is building you into the man you have decided to be. Autosuggestion is not superstition. It is spiritual engineering. Each night before sleep, your mind is wide open. Your resistance is down. Your body is relaxed. Your subconscious is listening. And this is your moment. You must speak identity into yourself, not as hope, but as command. Now say with strength, I am the type of person who follows through. I am the type of person who moves with clarity and decision. I am disciplined, certain, and resilient. I no longer identify with the man I used to be. Your old self is not your true self. It was built by years of unconscious suggestion, fear, failure, excuses, criticism. But now you are choosing yourself, constructing it, speaking it, repeating it. And the law says, whatever is repeated with feeling must be accepted by the subconscious. That is identity transmutation. You take one belief and you burn it out. You replace it with a new declaration and you speak it nightly. You repeat it until your voice and your soul say it in unity. And soon, it is no longer what you're trying to believe. It is who you are. Let me show you what this sounds like. Old thought, I'm not consistent. Transmuted suggestion, I am the type of person who does what he says, every time. Old thought, I get overwhelmed. Transmuted suggestion, I break down every problem into clear, simple actions and I move. Old thought, I don't finish what I start. Transmuted suggestion, I am a finisher. I do not quit. I complete every task I touch. You are not lying to yourself. You are deciding who you are, and you are repeating it until your subconscious obeys. Now repeat after me. Each night I give myself new instructions. Each word I speak becomes identity. My voice is law. My word is instruction. I am not who I was. I am who I repeat I am. This is why repetition matters. No man changes through information alone. He changes through saturation, through repetition, through programming. And autosuggestion is how you program identity. You choose the words, you choose the tone, you choose the belief, and then you never stop repeating it. Write this down. Tonight, I choose one sentence, one new identity. I write it, I repeat it 10 times, I emotionalize it. I speak it until I believe it. I speak it until I become it. And I do this not for a week, not for a month, but until it is truth. Here are your affirmations now. I am no longer the man who doubts. I am the man who decides. I am no longer the man who waits. I am the man who acts. I am no longer the man who questions himself. I am the man who speaks with authority. My identity is no longer a memory. It is a design. Let this burn into your subconscious. I become what I say. I become what I repeat. I become what I emotionally believe. That is the essence of all change. That is the soul of autosuggestion. That is the tool you now wield, night after night, until the work is done. So tonight, you do not simply fall asleep. You speak, you program, you command, and you wake up a step closer to your chosen self. Now that you've started this journey, now that you've planted the seed, repeated the command, visualized the outcome, and declared your identity, you must not quit. You must never quit. Not when it feels slow. Not when your emotions dip. Not when the world tells you nothing is happening. Because the truth is this, all transformation happens in silence before it shows up in substance. The roots grow before the fruit ever appears. And most men fail because they walk away 3 feet from gold. I've seen this too many times. A man begins with fire. He speaks his aim, feels it, writes it down, affirms it each night. He feels strong for a week, maybe 2, but then comes resistance, a dry day, an unanswered prayer, a moment where nothing visible changes. And so he makes the fatal mistake. He decides it isn't working. And so he stops. And the process dies, not because it was wrong, but because he didn't persist long enough for the law to reveal the reward. But you will not stop. You will not interrupt the law. You will not let temporary silence rob you of permanent change. You will remember this truth every night. The process is working, even when you cannot see it. The subconscious does not work on your schedule. The universe does not move by your clock. But if your effort is definite, if your action is consistent, if your belief is repeated, it must obey. Let me remind you of the lesson of 3 feet from gold. A man dug for treasure. He found a promising vein. He bought equipment. He began digging with faith. But when the gold seemed to vanish, he gave up, sold the land for scraps. And the man who bought it dug 3 more feet and struck one of the richest gold veins ever discovered. That is what quitting costs you. Not a loss, a delay in destiny, a forfeiting of treasure that was already within reach. Say this with me now. I am the type of person who finishes. I persist when others stop. My repetition will be rewarded. My faith is greater than my fatigue. You must become immune to the temptation of doubt. You must develop inner vision, a faith that sees through time, a belief that does not shrink in the face of silence, because every thought you've planted, every identity you've declared, every repetition you've delivered is forming something beneath the surface. Your subconscious is absorbing it, organizing it, embedding it, rewriting old codes, building new instincts. And the man who stays long enough, who holds the line night after night, he walks into the reality others abandoned. The enemy of progress is not failure. It is abandonment. It is stopping too soon, interrupting the law, halting the momentum before it crystallizes. And that enemy is silent. It shows up in phrases like, "I'll skip tonight. This isn't working, and maybe I was wrong." But you must be stronger than that voice. You must answer every temptation to quit with a louder affirmation. This process works. The law is perfect. My role is obedience. I will not insult the law with doubt. I will not stop before the shift. Every night I repeat, the roots grow deeper. Every night I believe, the structure gets stronger. You will be tested. You will be asked by life, how badly do you want it? You will face dry seasons, dull days, and stretches where results seem still. But in those hours, your belief must remain louder than your circumstances, because faith is not faith until it survives silence. Now listen closely. You must make this commitment tonight. I will not quit the process for 90 days. That is your contract. You will speak your chief aim. You will affirm your identity. You will enter silence. You will visualize. And you will do it every single night, whether you feel like it or not, because this is not emotional. This is mechanical obedience to spiritual law. Let me say it again. Transformation is mechanical before it becomes miraculous. You must move through the repetition before you reach the reward. You must become the man before the world reflects it. Let us speak this now with intensity. I do not need proof. I live by principle. I do not need feedback. I live by law. I do not need signs. I live by belief. I do not stop. I finish. I fulfill. I follow through. You must now see yourself as a builder, not a dreamer. A man who lays bricks every night, who pours concrete every morning, who speaks steel into his soul and does not look up to measure progress until the tower is finished. You do not ask for encouragement. You give yourself command. You do not ask for motivation. You act from decision. You do not ask if it's working. You say, "It must work. I am working the law." This is who you are now. Let us anchor it with your nightly command. Write or speak your definite chief aim. Say, "I am the man who follows through." Close your eyes. Visualize the outcome. Say, "The process is working. I do not need proof." Sit in silence. Release expectation. Affirm belief. Say, "I finish what I start. I persist until it becomes reality." Sleep with certainty. Let others quit. Let others pause. Let others begin again and again. But you are becoming unbreakable through consistency. You are becoming untouchable through ritual. You are becoming inevitable through obedience to process. Say this now and say it loud. I do not quit the process. I persist when nothing shows. I believe when others doubt. I act without needing applause. I repeat until the result is permanent. That is your oath. That is your power. That is your identity now. Nothing works without desire. Not one principle in this entire philosophy means anything unless it is set on fire by the one force that separates the powerful from the average, the certain from the drifting, the master from the forgotten, and that force is burning desire. It is not a feeling. It is not a wish. It is not the kind of shallow yearning that flickers and dies when pressure appears. No. Burning desire is a spiritual flame that consumes every excuse, outlasts every obstacle, and keeps a man moving when all the world seems asleep. It is the starting point of all achievement. It is the one thing that cannot be borrowed, cannot be taught, and cannot be given. You must ignite it yourself. And once it is alive in you, no man, no failure, no fear can stop you. Burning desire is not emotional, it is foundational. It gives force to repetition. It gives meaning to sacrifice. It turns every principle you've learned in this journey from knowledge into power. And let me be clear, you will never outwork your level of desire. You can have the right strategy. You can understand the principles. You can repeat affirmations every night. But if your desire is cold, if your aim is vague, if your intention is weak, then your subconscious receives nothing more than a whisper. And the subconscious does not move for whispers, it moves for fire. Burning desire is spiritual demand. It is the refusal to live a second longer in mediocrity. It is the moment you stop hoping and start declaring. It is the invisible shift when your inner voice says, "This is what I want, I will have it, and I will persist until I possess it." Most men skip this. They dabble, they experiment, they hope the world will reward lukewarm effort, and so they fail, not because the law betrayed them, but because they never truly asked with intensity. The subconscious, like infinite intelligence, does not move for the vague. It moves only when the soul has made up its mind. So I ask you now, what do you want? Not what sounds nice, not what others approve of, not what you've half-heartedly mentioned in conversations. I mean, what burns in your belly? What would you die for, build for, sacrifice for? Until that answer becomes definite, you are still a wanderer. And once you know it, once you've named it, you must do the only thing that gives that desire power. Declare it daily. Declare it with emotional intensity. Declare it until the world bends to your will. Say this now. I demand riches of life with definite purpose. I feel desire burning in my mind. I will not settle. I will not stop. I will not shrink. Let me give you the truth I have found in the lives of every great man I studied. Andrew Carnegie did not become a titan of steel because he was the smartest man in Pittsburgh. He became great because his desire was white hot. He told life what he would have, and then he demanded it from himself, every hour of every day. He started with nothing. But his desire would not allow him to think like a poor man. And so he outlasted, outbuilt, and outdeclared men with more education, more money, and more approval. Burning desire does not require credentials. It requires fire. Think of Thomas Edison. 10,000 failed attempts to produce the electric light. 10,000 nights of disappointment, 10,000 reasons to quit. But he said, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. That is what burning desire sounds like. It does not entertain defeat. It does not pause for sympathy. It keeps building while others make excuses. And what of Henry Ford? When the experts told him the V8 engine was mechanically impossible, he told his engineers, build it anyway. Month after month, they returned with failure, and every time he said the same thing, build it anyway. And when they finally succeeded, the world praised his genius. But the truth is, his genius was simply this. He never allowed desire to cool. Now you must do the same. Each night, as your body winds down and your conscious mind prepares to sleep, you must reawaken the fire. You must speak your desire with force, with rhythm, with command. Let the subconscious hear it. Let it feel the urgency. Let it receive the image with clarity and the intention with certainty. This is your ritual now. Write your definite chief aim at the top of a fresh page. Speak it aloud 10 times. Feel your body respond. Breathe deeply. Stand tall. Say, "This is mine. I claim it now. This is not a dream. This is law. This will not fade. This will not fail. I will not yield." And then close your eyes. See the image. Walk in the life. Touch the results. And let that emotional blueprint burn itself deeper into the subconscious. Because every night you do this, you are writing identity. You are instructing the law. You are saying to infinite intelligence, "I am not playing with this. I am committed." Repeat these words now. My desire is definite. My belief is intense. My repetition is sacred. I am the man who demands results from himself and from life. I do not wait for permission. I do not shrink from rejection. I do not ask twice. I act. I declare. I persist. Burning desire is the master switch. Without it, no power flows. Without it, the subconscious ignores you. Without it, repetition becomes routine instead of transformation. But with it, every law obeys, every plan moves, every habit locks into place. Let this be your oath. I will speak my desire until it becomes my tone. I will repeat my aim until the world memorizes it. I will feel my future so deeply that the present cannot hold me. I will not live like the man I used to be. I will build the man I demand to be. And now declare again, I demand riches of life with definite purpose. I feel desire burning in my mind. I will not settle. I will not stop. I will not shrink. Say this every night. Say it when no one watches. Say it until your voice and your belief are one. Say it until your desire is no longer an emotion, but an identity. Now that your desire is burning, now that your chief aim is alive in you, not as a thought but as a fire, you must protect the atmosphere in which it grows. You must understand the sacred importance of where and how you plant your thoughts. And there is no holier ground, no more fertile hour than the final moments of your day. The night is sacred, and silence is the gatekeeper of power. Most men fall asleep to noise. They give their final attention to voices that are not their own, arguments, distractions, flashing lights, and empty chatter. They enter rest with minds cluttered, hearts scattered, and thoughts left to drift in 1,000 directions. And so the subconscious, waiting for instruction, receives only chaos. And when the subconscious receives chaos, it obeys chaos. But you are no longer like most men. You are no longer a servant of distraction. You are a master of command. And a master understands this. The subconscious mind does not speak English. It speaks vibration, tone, atmosphere, and emotional repetition. And the atmosphere of silence is its most receptive temple. You must treat the night like a place of worship. Not a time to collapse, not a time to be entertained, a time to build, a time to instruct, a time to focus your mental force without the interference of the world. Let me say it again with absolute clarity. Silence is not the absence of sound. Silence is the presence of self-control. In the quiet, your inner voice becomes clearer. Your imagination gains authority. Your affirmations become more potent. Your identity becomes sharper, and your desire becomes bolder. Silence magnifies everything you've planted. Now here is your practice. Each night, 30 minutes before rest, turn off all unnecessary input. No music, no mindless noise. You must create a sacred chamber around you, even if you are in a small room or a crowded home. You must take control of your immediate space. Dim the lights. Sit still. Let the day fade from your nervous system. Let the old energy release from your body. And do not speak unless it is in alignment with your definite purpose. Because in the stillness, you are not doing nothing. You are doing the most powerful work of all. You are programming your inner world. Say this now. Silence is not absence. It is alignment. When the world sleeps, I rise inward. When all is quiet, I give command. This silence is my temple. I build myself here. Let me tell you why the night matters most. During the day, your conscious mind is bombarded. Thousands of suggestions, emotions, noises, distractions. You must defend yourself constantly. But at night, the gate weakens. The body softens. The resistance fades. And this is your opening. The subconscious becomes fertile. The soil opens. And if you enter this hour with power, you will plant instructions that no resistance can block. But if you enter this hour with chaos, the world will keep writing your story. And so you must now become a man of nightly silence. Not once, not sometimes, always. This is how you rise in the dark. Now repeat after me. I protect my final hour. I do not surrender my mind to noise. The silence builds my strength. In the quiet, I give my soul new orders. Let me be more specific. Your subconscious does not need volume. It needs precision. It does not require speeches. It requires repetition in peace. When you enter sleep with silence, your instructions are carved deeper. The image you held becomes clearer. The identity you affirmed becomes more believable. And the future you desire begins to form with structure, not fantasy. Most men fill the night with distraction because they fear facing themselves. But you face yourself with honor. You meet the silence like a builder meets his blueprint. You sit with your thoughts like an architect with his design. You speak to yourself not as a beggar, but as a master. Say this with absolute conviction. I am the type of person who ends every day with authority. My final hour is mine. I do not give it away. The world does not close my day, I do. I enter rest not by collapse, but by command. Let me give you your nightly silence structure. Clear the environment. No noise, no unnecessary light, absolute intention. Sit in stillness. For 5 minutes, do nothing but breathe. Let your thoughts slow. Visualize your chief aim. Say it softly. Picture it fully. Repeat it silently. Affirm your identity. Speak your chosen self aloud once or twice. No more. Let it land. Close your eyes. Let the silence deepen. Let your nervous system absorb the image. Say nothing more. Sleep peacefully. Let the law work now. And do this every single night, because if you give the night to silence, the day will obey your instruction. The man who enters rest with power awakens with clarity. The man who treats the night as sacred builds days others can only envy. The man who retreats into silence does not escape. He constructs. And the man who repeats this without fail becomes inevitable. Say these final affirmations now. Silence is where I rewire my destiny. I build myself in quiet repetition. My nights belong to purpose, not pleasure. The silence before sleep is the loudest command of my life. Tonight you return to yourself, and tonight you retreat not from the world, but into your vision. Tonight you become untouchable, not because the world got easier, but because you got quiet. Now that you have written your chief aim, spoken it with burning desire, and planted it in the silence of the night, you must master one final truth before the harvest begins. You must detach. Yes, you must believe. Yes, you must act. Yes, you must repeat, persist, declare, and visualize. But you must also release, let go. Step back from the outcome with confidence, because the seed cannot grow if you keep digging it up to check its roots. Detachment is not surrender. It is not apathy. It is certainty in action. It is belief so strong you no longer need reassurance. It is walking forward without needing to see the finish line every hour. It is emotional maturity. It is faith without grasping. It is the invisible law of spiritual composure. And without it, Even the greatest desire is choked by anxiety. Most men kill their own progress by returning to the field every morning with panic in their eyes. They ask, "Where is it? Why hasn't it come? Why is nothing happening?" And in those questions, they cancel the work of the subconscious. They introduce contradiction. They say they believe, but their fear says otherwise. And the subconscious, unable to follow two masters, obeys only one, emotion. And when the dominant emotion is fear, even the most perfect plan begins to decay. You must now rise above this tendency. You must become a man of inner detachment, one who moves forward with absolute belief, one who gives the order, takes the action, and then sleeps with peace. You do not grasp. You do not check. You do not chase. You work. You believe. You release. Say it now. I plant, I persist, I let go. What I have declared is already mine. I am not attached to the outcome. I am devoted to the law. Detachment is not weakness. It is power under control. It is the refusal to demand immediate results like a child. It is the spiritual discipline of the builder who knows the house is rising brick by brick, even if he does not see the rooftop yet. Let me show you how great men lived by this law. Andrew Carnegie did not rush. He built steadily, with belief in the system he created. When men questioned him, he did not waver. He knew that time was not the enemy of success. Impatience was. Henry Ford did not beg for recognition. He did not release his inventions in panic. He trusted the invisible forces at work. He focused not on applause, but on execution. Edison did not despair after thousands of failed experiments. He did not doubt the process. He did not tie his identity to one success. He gave the command, worked the method, and trusted the result. This is how you must now walk through life. You speak the aim. You repeat the identity. You take the daily action. And then you say, "It is done." And you move. Not with worry, not with desperation, with faith. Say this with full authority. I no longer ask if it's working. I know it is. I do not beg life for results. I command them with belief. I do not measure every step. I move with purpose. I do not need to feel it every day. I persist anyway. Detachment is not giving up. It is giving over. You release your demand for control, and in doing so, you gain total spiritual control. You do not need to micromanage the universe. You only need to repeat your command until it becomes fact. So here is your new posture. Each night, after you speak your definite aim, after you visualize it and affirm it, after you've emotionally charged the image and instructed the subconscious, sit in stillness and then say, "Now I release. Now I trust. Now I sleep, not because I've done enough, but because I've done what is required." And then you go to rest, not in fear, but in finality. You no longer clutch your goal with desperation. You no longer chase results like a beggar. You have become the man who knows the law works if I do not interrupt it. Say this again. I do not interrupt the law. I do not question what I've declared. I do not shrink when progress is silent. I do not flinch when results delay. You now belong to a rare breed of men, men who are unmoved by temporary silence, men who work the law, not their emotions, men who walk with composure even before the proof arrives, men who do not quit, not because it's easy, but because they know what they've planted cannot be denied. Now take this truth into your subconscious. You must work with desire, but rest with faith. You must command your identity, but release the timing. You must move with decision, but detach from the applause. You must never stop the process, but you must stop interfering with it. Say this final sequence before sleep. I have spoken, I have planted, I have believed. What I want is mine. I do not need to chase, I only need to act. I release the outcome. I trust the law. Tonight, let this truth settle deep. Let go. Not because you are weak, but because you are certain. You've now built your foundation. You've declared your definite chief aim. You've burned it with desire. You've fed it to the subconscious in silence. You've released the outcome with faith. Now comes the highest part of the process, the part where you do not merely speak new thoughts, but become a new man. This is the sacred law of identity transmutation through autosuggestion. You must understand, all change is identity change. All success, all wealth, all confidence, all discipline are expressions of who you believe you are. And you do not believe by chance. You believe through repetition, through reinforcement, through suggestion. Autosuggestion is not fantasy. It is not a chant. It is not a superstition. It is the scientific, spiritual process of installing identity into the subconscious mind. You say it, you feel it, you repeat it, and the subconscious, unable to reject emotion backed by belief, begins to obey. You must stop trying to improve the old man. You must stop working around your doubts. You must stop negotiating with hesitation. You must become the man you are trying to become, not through willpower alone, not through waiting, but through autosuggestion. You do not fight the old self. You replace him. Each time you say, I am the type of person who follows through, you are not describing your past. You are constructing your future. You are building the man in thought before he becomes fact. And the subconscious begins to obey, not because it understands logic, but because it accepts emotional repetition. Say this now. I am no longer becoming, I am now being. I declare myself to be the man I have chosen. My identity is built nightly. My words are law. Identity transmutation is not one declaration. It is daily hypnosis, not by another, but by yourself. You are the speaker. You are the instructor. You are the voice the subconscious listens to most. And what you repeat tonight, you will act tomorrow. What you declare with certainty, you will carry with posture. What you imprint in silence, you will express in power. Let us now become specific. Every night before rest, you must sit up straight. Breathe deeply and speak aloud, not with desperation, not with doubt, but with certainty. Not many phrases, just 1, 2, 3, but say them with truth, feel them. Imagine yourself walking, speaking, living as that man. Say, I am disciplined. I am certain. I am respected. I am calm under pressure. I am successful because I am definite. And repeat them. Let the tone shift from effort to truth, from trying to being, from imagining to accepting, because this is the process. You repeat it until it no longer feels foreign. You repeat it until it feels like home. Do not argue with the subconscious. It cannot be reasoned with. It must be led. And it is led through conviction. Let me show you how great men use this law. Carnegie saw himself as a builder before he held a single fortune. Ford imagined himself commanding an industry, while others mocked him as a mechanic. Edison referred to himself as an inventor before he had produced a single useful invention. Their minds were already convinced before the world agreed. So I ask you now, who must you become? Not someday, tonight. Write the name, write the qualities, write the phrases, then speak them. Not fast, not many, just truth. Because the subconscious needs emotion, clarity, repetition, not complexity. Here is your formula. Choose 2 to 3 traits that define your new identity, e.g., disciplined, calm, focused. Create a phrase for each, e.g., I am the type of person who acts with calm precision. Speak each phrase 10 times, slowly, with feeling. See yourself as that man, walking, speaking, thinking, moving. Go to sleep in the image of that man. Do this every night without exception. This is the true alchemy, not turning lead into gold, but turning fear into certainty, doubt into posture, hope into identity, through the consistent, emotional, disciplined use of autosuggestion. Let us repeat now. I am the type of person who keeps his word. I am the type of person who commands his thoughts. I am the type of person who does not flinch under pressure. I am the type of person who executes what he imagines. This is your new programming. The old identity cannot live here anymore. You will not speak in weakness. You will not repeat limitation. You will not accept the lies you used to tell yourself. You will write new truth, speak new truth, become new truth. Let me end this section with your final affirmation ritual. Say it slowly, 3 times, with complete belief. Now listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you is the difference between the man who becomes unstoppable and the one who disappears quietly. You have declared your definite chief aim. You've burned it into your subconscious through desire. You've spoken it with faith, written it with discipline, and repeated it with silence and emotional certainty. You've begun the sacred process of identity transmutation, replacing the old self with the man of purpose and precision. But there is one final law before the harvest begins. You must not quit. Do not quit the process. Do not interrupt the law. Do not abandon the system you've now set in motion, because the law is working even when you do not see it. The mind is absorbing even when you feel nothing. The identity is forming even when the world does not yet reflect the change. Let this be written into your soul. Most men fail not because the process is broken, but because they break themselves by quitting too soon. They stop because they didn't feel different fast enough, because no one noticed their growth, because the world didn't bend to their will in 7 days, and so they fold, they doubt, they delay. They go back to old habits, and the identity begins to crumble. But not you. Not now. Not tonight. Not ever again. You will persist. You will reinforce. You will follow through, because you are not working for applause. You are working from principle. You are not chasing motivation. You are driven by law. You are not reacting to results. You are responding to your definite command. Let me tell you something you must remember until your dying breath. Persistence is spiritual faith in motion. Persistence is how you prove to yourself that you believe what you declared. It is how you tell your subconscious, this is not a phase. This is who I am now. Every time you return to the routine, every time you repeat the command, every time you visualize, speak, and sit in silence, you are not just programming your mind. You are proving to it that the change is permanent. And that proof, repetition with belief, is what creates new instinct, new reaction, new reality. Let me now tell you the story of a man who quit too soon. He bought a plot of land. The report said there was gold in the earth. He dug for weeks. He invested in tools. He hired workers. But when the vein of gold disappeared, he gave up, sold the land, walked away. The new owner brought in a geologist, dug 3 more feet, and struck the richest gold vein in Colorado history. That man walked away 3 feet from gold, not because he lacked tools, not because the gold was gone, but because he quit the process right before the reward. This is how close most men are, and this is why most men never see the life they were meant to live. But you will not quit. Now listen carefully, because I am going to give you the most important nightly exercise you will ever do. You will do this for 90 days without missing a single night. Not one. Not for distraction. Not for fatigue. Not for excuses. You will do this because this is who you are now. Step 1. Sit up in silence. Before lying down, sit up on your bed, back straight, lights low, no phone, no screen. This is your command posture. This is your seat of power. You are not collapsing into sleep. You are instructing the subconscious with certainty. Say aloud, I do not go to sleep with drift. I go to sleep with direction. Step 2, speak your definite chief aim. Repeat it aloud, slowly, clearly, with emotion. Do not just say the words, feel them. Each word must carry energy. Your subconscious cannot reject repetition spoken with belief. Say, I fully realize that no wealth or position can long endure unless built upon truth and justice. And continue until you've completed your aim in full. You must write it and memorize it. If not, read it clearly. Step 3, declare your identity. Speak the identity that supports your aim, not as desire, but as truth. Example, I am the type of person who acts immediately. I am disciplined and focused. I am the kind of man who finishes everything he starts. Speak 3 to 5 identity commands with full conviction. Repeat each one 3 times. Step 4. Visualize the man you are becoming. Close your eyes. Picture yourself in full form, walking, standing, speaking, commanding. Do not rush. See his posture, feel his voice, breathe as he breathes, live in the moment of success before it arrives. Then say, "This is who I am now. This is not the future, this is the present." Step 5. Anchor the process with repetition. Repeat the following core autosuggestions 5 times each. While I sleep, my future is forming. I program my identity every night. What I see, I become. What I say, I build. I persist until success becomes my nature. Let the rhythm sink in. Don't rush. Say them with presence. Step 6. Affirm unbreakable persistence. This is where you anchor the vow that separates you from every man who stops. Say with fire, "I do not quit. I finish what I start. I persist whether I feel it or not. I obey the law of repetition. I follow through every night." And then declare that this is night 10 of 90. Track your streak. Say the number. Own the progress. Step 7. Sleep in total certainty. Now lie back. No more speaking. Breathe deeply. Smile. The law is working. Your command has been given. You have done the real work. Let the mind obey now. Repeat mentally as you fade. I sleep to rise greater. I sleep as the man I declared. Now listen, this is not a game. This is your final layer of character. This is the cement that locks your new identity into place. Do not miss a night. Do not let emotion interrupt the system. Do not make excuses for distraction. Do not seek motivation. Honor the vow. If you fall, start the streak again. But if you can go 90 nights without failure, you will never be the same again. Your subconscious will accept your command as absolute identity. You will walk differently, speak differently, work differently, live differently, because you are no longer hoping to become. You are persisting into the man you already declared. Now repeat these words slowly. I do not quit the process. I repeat the command until it becomes my character. I obey the law because I believe in the law. I persist when others fade. I follow through because this is who I am now. Let this final truth settle into your soul. The world does not reward you for starting. It rewards you for finishing. And you, my friend, you are the man who finishes. You have come to the end, but not the end of knowledge, not the end of effort, not the end of your journey. You have come to the end of drift. You have come to the edge of hesitation. And now you stand at the doorway to a new self, a self built, night by you. The old man is no longer in charge. He does not speak for you. He does not wake up with you. You have silenced him with ritual. You have replaced him with a commander. And now you are that commander. You have learned that the subconscious never sleeps, that the mind receives its greatest impressions in the hours before rest, that fear grows when thought is passive. But belief becomes law when spoken with emotion and repetition. You have learned that you are the gardener, that your mind is a field of unimaginable richness, and that if you do not plant with discipline, the weeds of doubt and distraction will overrun your soil. You have learned that autosuggestion is the instrument of identity, that what you say to yourself over and over with faith and feeling becomes who you are, and that all great builders of wealth, wisdom, power, and influence have used this very tool nightly until the world obeyed the image they repeated. You have learned that burning desire is not an emotion, it is fuel. It is what drives repetition. It is what makes a man keep going when no one watches, and it is what separates those who try from those who become. You have learned that faith is not hope. It is not religion. It is emotionalized belief, made permanent through command. And you have practiced the self-confidence formula until your very tone has begun to change. You have learned that controlled attention is magnetic, that scattered minds repel success, but focused thought pulls wealth, clarity, and power into your experience. You have built the skill of concentrating on one idea night after night until it begins to dominate your consciousness. You have sat with your master mind. You have entered sacred silence. You have visualized your definite chief aim. You have replaced fear with definite thought. You have instructed your subconscious with new commands, written with precision, spoken with conviction. And above all, you have not quit. You have persisted. You have returned. You have built this identity not with noise, but with discipline. And now you are no longer a man becoming someone else. You are the man you declared, and the world, slowly but surely, will rise to meet your new posture. Now we will seal this transformation with the final ritual, the nightly act that brings all parts of the philosophy into one clear command. It will be simple, but it must be done every night without fail for the rest of your life. Because success is not a moment, it is a habit. Greatness is not an emotion, it is a rhythm. And your future is not a secret, it is a system. Let us begin. Nightly ritual, the 5-part practice. 1. The clearing, clear your space. Clear your mind. Turn off the day. Close the doors. This hour belongs to you. Light a candle. Dim the lights. Say aloud, this is my hour. I give this hour to my identity. I honor this time with stillness and strength. 2. The declaration, speak your definite chief aim. Slowly, with emotion. Speak it until you feel it. Speak it until it burns. Do not recite it flatly. Say it like your future depends on it, because it does. I fully realize that no wealth or position can long endure unless built upon truth and justice. Complete your full written aim aloud. 3. The visualization. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply. See the life you have declared. See yourself in motion, walking in that life, feeling the results, owning the outcome. Say, I see the man I've become. I am that man now. This vision is not someday, it is instruction. 4. The command of identity. Now speak identity with clarity. Say who you are. Say it with finality. Do not ask. Do not hope. Declare. I am the type of person who follows through. I am the type of person who lives with purpose. I am the type of person who finishes what he starts. I am the type of person who commands his mind and respects the law. 5. The final affirmation sequence. Now speak the final lines. These are your closing words. This is the programming your subconscious will obey while your body rests. Let these 5 truths echo until sleep takes you. Say, I am clear. I am confident. I am powerful. I build success every night. I sleep to rise greater. Repeat them again. I am clear. I am confident. I am powerful. I build success every night. I sleep to rise greater. One more time, slower. With complete faith, I am clear. I am confident. I am powerful. I build success every night. I sleep to rise greater. And now, rest. Let the law work. Let the subconscious build. Let infinite intelligence do what it always does when you obey with faith, repetition, and discipline. You are not asleep. You are becoming. You are not drifting. You are rising. You are not hoping. You are creating. Through law, through ritual, through power. This is how a man builds the life he deserves. And you, my friend, are that man now.